Hey, welcome to the show before the show. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, and I'm joined by Will.
Sup?
Just a couple of local game guys
Yeah.
discussing Wilds of Eldraine. Is that the new set that just came out?
Yes, it is.
Cool. God, thank God I got that right. Okay. Well, during the show before the show, I'm going to get all the unfun, nitty gritty stuff out of the way. And if you are watching as we start, well, then you can just pass along this information to anyone else because that viewer engagement counts. So I'm going to say this now. You can say it later. The description has all the information you need. So if you're wondering how the tier system works, you might have noticed in the thumbnail, it's S through D. So I'll just go over what that means for us so that when we're categorizing, it all makes sense. S is cEDH playable. Go figure. A is competitively viable. That means it's not like a slam dunk in the cEDH territory. It might require a little bit more finagling. It's not like a blue farm. It's more like an Oswald.
No, Oswald is S. Oswald is S. It's like one of the more off meta decks that you don't see too frequently, but something that can work. I would
Yeah.
say like maybe something like Old Stick Fingers.
Is A?
A deck, yeah, I'd say Old Stick Fingers is probably like the higher side of A.
Okay. Okay. B is situationally viable. Do you want to break that one down for the audience? I forget what we sort of agreed on.
B is something that would be like high-powered casual or niche garden competitive. That's kind of the
Right.
best way of putting it.
This was us skirting around because I don't really adhere to a number system, and I'd rather you just play whatever makes you happy. But yeah, that makes sense. You could say it's like that high power category, but it's more or less going to be like your monocolored commanders that have a niche strategy that rely on, I don't want to say dumb cards, but off meta cards or cards that you wouldn't typically find in your average list to make it work. Um, Oswald just tutors things. It's really,
Yeah,
you just play
I would
good
say if you
artifacts.
if you want a good example of a B, I would probably say something like Society, just
Hmm.
because no one is playing competitive Society, but you can play competitive Society.
We have C, which is casual playable. That should be self-explanatory. In D is
For do not
don't.
play.
Is don't.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Play something else. And this could be. This is interesting because sometimes, as we've been doing these tier lists here on the channel, these amazing, illustrious, you've heard about them everywhere. Our tier lists are renowned. As we've been doing these, uh, the D can be a Wooburg commander in a lot of instances because we're not only grading it off of its own face value, we're also looking at it in comparison to what else is already out there. And so far as the Wooburg space is concerned, it's really tight. Like there's a lot of stuff vying for your money, for you to play them. So if we put a Wooburg commander there, yes, technically you can make it 5 colors competitive. We're just saying that there are better things for you to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's same is true for, it doesn't have to be a Wooburg commander. It could be 3 to 4 to 5, up to 5 colors or even dual colors. But yeah, that's the tier list. How about that? Majra says, "Hey everyone, hey." ALMAO says, "Hey, finally catching something live, presumably. Love, woohoo." Good. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, and if you haven't watched our gameplay or you missed it last night, I highly recommend it. Will, you want to commentate on the gameplay? Was it of a caliber that you enjoy?
People did one ring things, and everyone had some crazy openers. My decks sadly didn't have a great showing on the stream, but we have more live streams for that, so I'll get good hands next time.
Yeah, you just need to slam the one ring every game, Will. I think the
Yeah.
one ring players won every game. Am I
I
mistaken?
mean, yeah,
No,
but to be
no,
fair, literally
no.
all you guys are playing the One Ring in every single one of your decks. So that's like saying, wow, 75% of the
It's,
table won the
it's
majority of
well,
games.
I realized though, that Dylan did not play the one ring, yet he had his own variation with Atraxa. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie though, Oswald felt more efficient than having to slam Atraxa after like a world of fast mana ramp dork dork ramp options. Like it was so. Is that how Atraxa normally plays? Like I don't want to shit on it or poo poo on it.
It's
It's
like a slow deck that ramps and does a little bit of control, then you just slam a Traxa and try to storm off.
okay. Yeah. I mean, that's what Dylan was saying. Again, not to poo poo his list or anything, but it's interesting how it's like it's a deck I hear about in cEDH so much, and it's such a slow starter, which is totally fine. I don't know what I was expecting. I'd never fought it up until that point, so it was fun seeing it, and it definitely got to pop off because no one had an answer for it. And at a certain point, like I was kind of behind in our third game. Not to spoil anything, I guess. I was kind of behind. I already did. I was really behind on our third game that I wasn't able to attend to Atraxa because if I just did that, then I would have given the game to Cam. By the way, you should watch our live stream gameplay. We have a new segment on the channel called F&M. Guess what? Friday Night Magic. Every night, the times may vary depending on guest availability, but we had Play to Win out. Cam and Dylan, I'm referring to those Play to Win guys. Very fun games. The decks were amazing. Atraxa especially. The One Ring fit on the finger neatly. We're going to play many more games. Expect to see a lot of Oswald until I make another deck. Help me make another deck by using the affiliate link in the description. There's not enough of you to be saying this. Or send a tip or a super chat if you enjoy the content here. But actually, I do need to make another list. More
I'm
important,
telling you, you got to build Yargle Multani. You got to build that deck.
Well, yeah, I want to say that we put that one on the map, but I could be wrong. I wasn't looking at everyone else's. I don't really watch MTG content personally. It really depends. But I'm pretty sure we're like, as soon as that was announced, we're like, yes, we need to do Yargle Multani Storm. We did Yargle Multani Storm, and it was good.
I remember that as well because you said, "Oh, we should do a brew with the two of us," and then you recommended a couple of the meta things, and I said, "I think I'd rather do some of the more off meta things." I gave a couple examples, and you were like, "What the crap does Yargle Multani do?" And then I talked you into it.
I liked. I mean, it's 18 power, but you lack all of the other core elements to really get the ball rolling on that. But the fact of the matter is you're in Golgari. So you have all the creatures, tutors, you have all the standard tutors to find those solutions to make it work. And a lot of the solutions were creature based. So, you were doubling down on every single resource to get the things you needed. It was a really fun list. We might do a Gale Scion deck Wednesday, guys. I'm in a search for my next list and paper, and that's sort of the deck I want to. That seems like the playstyle I want to do. It's interesting suggesting blue, but for every game we've played, I feel like I have always needed counter interaction because any other format in MTG, I'm usually playing blue. I just avoid it in Commander because it's woefully boring. Like you usually rely on the same play lines for every deck that consists of blue and black in particular. You're always going to see Thassa's Oracle. I try to avoid it by not playing blue because I think it's boring. Although if I'm going to do something with cEDH and Gale and Scion, I feel like I have to commit. I just feel like that is how you should be winning. Why would I deny myself the most easily accessible play line to win the game with a dumb,
especially when Gale does it so brutally, because you can just go cast Oracle, Demonic Consultation, you counter Demonic Consultation, Sorcery, Demonic Consultation, double up.
Right, while the ETB is on the stack, provided the Oracle gets through. Yeah.
You can still kill your own Thoracle and reanimate it again at instant speed because Gale doesn't care about spell speed.
You know what's important here? Born Upon a Wind. You could really force, like you were saying, sorcery into that. You really could just do that. Tainted Pack and Demonic Consultation are both instant, right? So that's another part of why that combo is so good. Anyways, thanks for joining us. If you're jumping in now, I'm just talking about how I hate blue, but I'm reluctant to play it regardless. No, I don't hate blue. I really do like blue. I just find it boring in Commander. However, Gale looks really fun playstyle-wise, Will. I think you got me sort of convinced on that I at least want to try a build.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you double up on all the cool effects, and you're always going to have the control tool in your graveyard that you can use. So it's just great.
Yeah, and for 2 generic and a blue for a 1/3, like those are all really good values. Like he's easy to churn out. He's a great blocker. He has an amazing effect that's not limited. Like kind of relating it to Cast the Other Night. Obviously, you're not in Grixis with that, partner background pairing, but it's pretty solid. I don't know, and I don't see people play those background commanders ever, so it'd be fun to bring one to the table.
I am offended.
No, well, I say okay, so. You got what I'm like. Local, I've
Yeah.
never. No one ever touches them here.
There's only like 3 that are heavily viable, and 2 of them are Abdel.
Mm. So, team in the audience, feel free to comment at any point. I want to point out a few more things before I actually jump into this. Yes, this is also to include the commander products. That is to say, for legendaries, we're going to be going through these in alphabetical order and just see what we're working with here, or not. Oh great! Oh no! Oh no! No, the switcher doesn't want to work. It's okay.
Oh no!
There you go. Let's see if I can get it to. No. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do this. All right. Loop deck works half of the time. I like the device, but yeah, it does do this every now and then. I want to get this working before we start. No, it doesn't want to do it. All right, we'll do it manually. So here's our tier list, and all of our cards are down here. You can't see all of them, but that's 37 legendaries. However, we're going to be reviewing them over on Scryfall. If you want to follow along with us, link in the description. Everything you need in the description. How great is that? Fun bit of information for you. If you were to leave an emoji on the screen, say like this one on the screen, in the chat, it'll show up on the screen. So if you agree with us or disagree with us, there's an emoji for you at the top right of your screen. You'll notice it. So if you want to participate in the judging here, feel free to comment, obviously, first. But as we're going through these, we definitely want your help in consideration of these new legendaries. You might notice that the Commander box set has reprints of legendaries, namely Danitha here is staring me down. We're obviously going to exclude these because they're not new to the world of Magic. However, every other legendary that's new we will cover, and those 37 we have. Okay. Other than that, do we put Corvold on here?
Yeah, I think cool. Corvold is on here. I believe Corvold and the chef guy. I can never remember his name.
It's not Rocco. It's it starts with a B. Bernard, Ginger Sculptor. Excellent. All right, and without further ado, I think we're ready. This is gonna drive me up the wall.
Can I really quickly say, flavor lost from the set, we don't have a bounce effect called Ginger Snap.
Ooh,
that would have been fantastic.
We got a they're saving that for the return to Eldraine. They gotta leave us something to pine for. Okay, that'd have been hilarious though. Ginger Snap, you may untap a food token.
Yeah.
That's not useful at all. But yeah, so tiers covered, cards covered. Your questions, your thoughts, your concerns, your prayers, I'll answer. Just let me know, and we'll get to them. But I think it's officially time to start. I keep wanting to use the switcher. Oh, this is killing me. Loop deck. I'm going to unplug it and replug it one more time. But until it decides to start working. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Wilds of Eldraine Legendary Tier List. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, your local game guy. I'm joined today by Will. Will,
what's up?
Are you excited for this? Is this what you wait for every Saturday?
Yeah. We're gonna have some cool things to cover, and hopefully I can give people a couple interesting interactions that they didn't think of.
Yeah, some cEDH insights. So we're going to be ranking these from the perspective of cEDH players, because that's what we commonly do. Obviously, I don't delve too much into casuals, so we're always relying on your opinions. This is all community-based segment, so please lend us your thoughts as we go into this tier list so that we can give you the most accurate tier list. But let's start in alphabetical order. There's only 37 legendaries to cover. We're notorious for going several hours into these, but I'm going to try to narrow this down to 2 hours maximum for you guys, because we all have things to do, and also these don't need to be 4 hours. We just like talking. Do you want to do every other, or should I just read them off and then we'll go over it?
You can read them off and then we can discuss. I
Okay.
think that would be fine.
Cool. So Agatha gets two really cool cards. I like the legendary and I like her cauldron. So Agatha of the Vile Cauldron. Gruul, legendary creature, human warlock, 1/1 body. Ooh, rough times. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost X less to activate, where X is Agatha the Vile Cauldron's power. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. Oh, I thought we could have broke it. All right, so for Fortuneric and Gruul, other creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and haste until end of turn. Okay, so again, we're critiquing these specifically in the CZ. So if there's a card that fits well in the 99, let us know. But as a commander, is this your next Gruul legendary?
I think that this is probably an A tier, actually. And the only reason why is because Agatha reduces the cost of her own activated
Right.
ability, which is really good. So any buff makes it so it's just Gruul, give all your stuff haste, buff them, and give them trample.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, Agatha sets up some infinite mana combos a little bit better. For instance, there's the Gruul Urza. I can never remember the name of that card in Pilipala. So you can tap Pilipala for green without using summoning sickness or caring about summoning sickness, then untap it for 1 mana and making 1 mana of any color. So you make infinite mana of every color. Use Agatha, make all your creatures infinities with trample and haste and kill everybody. You can also use Sylvanas' Invoker and Gaia's Cradle to make infinite mana, and Agatha makes that easier. So
Mm.
Agatha just has a bunch of different win cons that are a lot easier due to the fact that you have a training ground in the command zone, and also, there's a ton of value that you can get from just having training grounds and haste enablers in a green deck.
Yeah, no, I kind of with you on all of that. I think that I feel like she could have been a 2/2 for 2 because if
Yeah.
you really look at her, she's I don't know, she's mythic rare. She's extremely squishy. She will die to, and I'm just thinking of all of the typical board wipes or removal. So Culling Ritual is one of the big ones. So she dies to Culling Ritual. She'll die to a Stiff Breeze, just defense wise. Obviously, this is kind of asking you to go like a, or at least it seems like it's encouraging you buff her with something like either a combat trick and or more likely an aura or a piece of equipment. But how many of those utilities are good otherwise? It's interesting. It puts you in some weird territory. You know, clearly you don't need to go that route either. It's okay to just use like I don't know. You might even be running Vines of Vestwood anyways for the protection, but all of the run of the mill, you know, pay 1 or it's free +4/+4 effects make it so that this is only Gruul to do, which is not that bad. And haste enabling in the command zone for your creatures is actually kind of crucial. Gruul doesn't have issues closing out games the same way Selesnya does, where you do need haste enabling in the CZ, which we're, you know, sadly, we just don't have. You know, there's so much like easy mass token generation in Selesnya, and there isn't a commander that I'm aware of that offers haste. Where well, this would have been really cool for Selesnya, but that's neither here nor there. I think I don't know if it does anything better than any other legendary that is Gruul, but I do like it as an enabler. Do you like this more than Raga Draga? They're not quite the
Yeah,
same.
I do like it more than Raga Draga just because this comes out earlier and gives you immediate grindy value and a little bit of haste. So it helps set up everything in addition to being a combo enabler and an outlet because it makes your combos much easier to do
Okay. Okay.
and
Do,
enables a few.
all right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the we can't like downplay that first like static effect. I'm okay
Yeah.
putting Agatha in A. I feel like she
A for
might fit more in B.
Yeah, I could definitely be persuaded to get Agatha be put into B just because it will be a pretty off meta build if people
Mm.
do play it. But I do think Agatha can win cEDH games pretty consistently.
So Will, someone says Wizard says marry a scholar of antiquity is the other half of the comp. You were
Oh,
referring to earlier.
yeah,
Majra
Miria,
says
Miria. Yep.
Majra has designed Ginger Snap for 1 and a blue, instant speed, bounce target creature into its owner's hand, create a food token.
Yeah,
I
there we
like it.
go.
Okay, so Agatha, I'm going to throw her ass. Where do you guys land in the audience? Like, hey, let's leave it to a poll. So I'm gonna close out the current poll, and I'll start a new poll. Agatha, A or B? Because I could really go either way on this as well. So I'll wait on Agatha, and I need to find her. She's like right.
Yeah, because I didn't have it in alphabetic order when I put everything
Oh no,
in there.
you're fine. You're fine. I'll leave her right there, and we'll get to her later. But I'll leave it to you guys. Let's move on to the next one. We've got Alayla Cunning Conqueror. So this is this is like the other legendary in the Commander Precon. You notice the set logo's changed, obviously. 2 generic, Dimir, 2/4, legendary creature, fairy, warlock, flying. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, so not your turn, sadly. Create a 1/1 black fairy rogue creature token with flying. So that's kind of cool. You can kind of make a blocker at instant speed. Whenever one or more fairies you control deal combat damage to a player, goad target creature that player controls. She's a fairy herself, and it's one or more, so you can't get multiple goads going off. It feels a little too restrictive at this cost and at that rarity. I'm sorry. I'm just giving my thoughts. I think she's fine. Yeah. I don't think goad in these colors is necessarily relevant. I think you're in Dimir, so it's good. I think there are better things to do in Dimir. This isn't to say you shouldn't consider this. I like the face commander for this deck way more. If you haven't seen them, we're actually going to be, spoiler alert. Oh god, I see it again. This is where I wish I could switch with a switcher. Spoiler alert, PubStomp MTG and us are going to be doing a live stream on the pre-cons, and one of us is going to be forced into, well, actually it's Will and one of their team is going to be playing Alayla. We don't know who yet. We'll figure that out later, but you'll get to see these in action. So maybe I'm full of shit and Alayla's amazing. But Will, what are your thoughts?
4 mana is kind of hard, even though it's on a 2/4 body, which is a very good stat line for a flyer. The fact that you can make up to 3/1/1 flyers a turn is interesting, because that makes this a pretty good sack fodder commander.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the goad does not do a ton. There are some decks where goad is gonna cripple that deck, and it's like, oh, fantastic against that.
Mm-hmm.
But nah.
That's right, your Timna must attack me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, your Drannith Magistrate has to swing into somebody who probably has like a Crom out is
right.
The most you're going to get out of this. But you probably want the Drannith out, considering the fact that you have your commander out on the battlefield in that situation.
I'm in agreement with the audience here. I feel like Alayla is in D territory. There are better to me. I mentioned one off the bat. Gale Scion combo feels better than this, and I would recommend that. There's also we saw Nimrus the other night. Nimrus is fine. She's Dimir, right?
Yeah, Nimrus is Dimir. And Nimrus is like 1 more mana for 1 less power, but also flash, and you draw instead of making fairies for the casting thing.
Sorry, Alayla.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alayla. By the way,
still
after
but...
yeah, it's still, I mean, so you could say it's a C. I would, just as from our perspective, I would say there's still probably better to do. After this, I'm going to post this in the community tab so you can share it with your friends and family. So if you guys aren't able to rather stay for the whole thing, just cash it later.
It looks like Agatha is going in B.
Oh yeah, we can end the poll there before we move on to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Agatha and B. I think that's fair. That's fair magic. Ash, Party Crasher. Celebration, new mechanic to the set. Boros, 2/2, legendary creature, human peasant, haste, and celebration. Now, celebration is going to be the same for every card that features this. It's a trigger that says if 2 or more non-land permanents. So whenever she attacks, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Ash. So these can be tokens. You can get this to trigger if you had additional combats with her.
I will say, even if this said put a +1/+1 counter on Ash and draw a card, I would still probably only give this a C. So this is probably a D.
Yeah, I really want to like it, but solely because Jason Rainville's art is so good on this card. This is one of I talk about art a lot on this show. I like the art on this card so much, and I would play it strictly for that. Like the lighting, the motion of the cape, like it's just like a little blur to it. It feels alive. The card itself is dead.
Yeah. Also, considering the fact that this card is on a Stroke of Midnight and stuff like that, and this card is pretty cool lore-wise for some reason. Like, it's in a lot of the card art, so I presume his character is somewhat impactful to the lore.
Yeah.
The card itself is just awful.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till they bump Ash to like rare or mythic rare status and like, I don't know, graduate her from just giving +1/+1 counters to herself. I don't know, it's fine. I again, Boros is not hurting for good legendaries, and like Will said, even if this had draw, most of our Boros legendaries have draw attached to some sort of equipment shenanigan. It kind of would have been cool if this had it too, but she's at the uncommon slot. It would be really crazy if a haste enabled 2/2 could buff itself and draw a card. I could see why they hampered this. She is legendary, mind you, so in other formats you could only have the one. I think it's okay. Baluna? We're going to talk about Baluna Grand Squall. That's a sick name, and I have not seen this card, so I'm actually going to be discovering a lot of these with you. Abzo says F for Ash, sorry. Yeah, I agree. Baluna Grand Squall, so what is this? Green, blue, red? What is that? That's Temur. Temur,
yeah.
4/4 legendary creature, giant noble, seek thrills. She's not a thrill seeker, she just seeks out thrills for 2 generic and Temur. Instant adventure. If you guys forget what adventure is, when you cast it for its adventure, it literally goes in a zone.
It goes into exile,
Right.
and it's on an adventure, and then you can cast it as its permanent side later and have it return from its adventure.
If you hadn't seen the mechanic before, I remember they give out tokens where you could put them, but it is technically just exile, I guess. But you couldn't play it from exile, right? If
you cannot play it from exile unless it was cast off an adventure.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah, but it is an exile otherwise. Anyways, mill 7 cards. Then put all cards that have an adventure from them among the milled cards into your hand, rather. That's, I see, again, I like decks that steer you in a certain direction. I don't know how many viable adventures there are, however. Trample, permanent spells you cast that have an adventure cost 1 less. Huh. Well, I'll let you butcher Baluna first, Will.
So, Baluna is probably C for me. There's an argument that you can do some stuff to try to have Baluna be an infinite mana outlet, because you can keep putting it back into the command zone instead of putting it into exile for the adventure. So you can mill your entire deck, then get some adventure that recurs Underworld Breach and win with Breach. So there is some cEDH potential, but there are infinitely better commanders that do the exact same thing, and outside of that, this card really does nothing. So it's just a infinite mana outlet in the command zone, and that's all that it does for competitive. In casual, you can make a fun adventure deck.
100%. Yeah, I feel like this fits into the fun C. It's a fun C. We've done this before, as you recall, in our illustrious tier list videos. There's always the fun C category. I would say that Baluna is a fun C. And let me refer to the audience here. Baluna will be a very good casual commander. Yeah, I'm with you there. Where's Baluna? My Baluna. There she is. But there's not enough cEDH viability and adventure spells for it to be an A or S. Yeah, easy A, says Majra. Wait, for who? Not Baluna. You can't mean Baluna. B, pretty theme, but meh, commander. Yeah. All right. We have Brenard for, oh god, I'm forgetting all the trip colors. It's green and...
Bant.
Okay, yeah. Generic and banned. 3/3 legendary creature, human artificer. Each creature you control that's a food or a golem gets +2/+2 and has trample. Cute. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 food golem artifact creature in addition to its other types, and it has pay 2s. Tap, sacrifice this artifact, gain 3 life. Okay, so we're all familiar with that. There's a theme running here. I, okay, so is there value in this? I mean, you could do. Oh god, I wish we had Hoarding Broodlord in these colors. I don't
I
know.
know.
I
You can double sack up a lot of things. You can get extra value, and you can turn some things into artifacts or artifact creatures, I should say, because leaves as a creature, re-enters as an artifact creature. There's a couple different things that let you do some fun value engines on this, and the 2/2 Trample Anthem is kind of cool, but in my opinion, this is probably just a C. Like it definitely does fun things in casual, and it can do some pretty stupid things here or there, but it doesn't do anything that would make it competitive.
A for band sack, pretty unique. Uh oh no, Majra. I'm sorry, you did mean Balloona. I don't know, she was fine. Sorry. Bernard, Ginger Sculptor, I'm gonna agree with you. I don't know how I feel like there's probably more viable golems than there are food creatures that aren't specifically golems. Aren't all the food creatures golems as well? I don't know. I do like that it's two subtypes though, so that's nice. Yeah, I kind of wish it enabled haste too. I mean, they could have really overpowered this and it wouldn't have been overpowered still because I don't know if it's doing enough. I can't think of the best things to double sack into Protean Hulk. How hard do you need to go? Like we already established that Protean Hulk has even better play lines since Tales of Middle Earth with the oh my god, Samwise. Jeez. So there's stuff to do. Obviously, you would need black though. I think in the combos we illustrated with Sam. That's neither here nor there. But
Bant already has the best Protean Hulk lines because it has a Breakfast Hulk.
I say C as well. I think it's definitely a casual playable card, a very cool one at that. I don't think it's the best in Bant, sadly. But yeah, you know what? Not everything's going to be the best in Bant. We're skipping Danitha. This is the face legendary of one of our precons. We're gonna play it on the channel. Yay! Thank you, Magic, for not sponsoring this live stream. But I'll be playing this deck. Hopefully her, because this one's pretty good, I think. 2 generics, Lesnia, legendary creature, human knight, 4/4 body. Whenever Elevere of the Wild Court enters the battlefield or attacks, create a virtuous roll token attached to another target creature you control. Rolls are sick. I think that there can be some pretty cool things you can do with rolls. Plus, it's also encouraging more aura-based enchantments. You just get this for free. So if you control another roll on it, that creature specifically, put that one into the graveyard. Enchanted creatures get +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. I don't know if that's tethered to virtuous roll in particular, or if all roll. I have to look at the tokens, or if
It's
all
a virtuous roll.
Virtuous roll in particular knocks off other rolls.
Oh, so, no. So some rolls have a knockoff. Some have this gets knocked off when it's attached. So
Cool.
different rolls have different either remove other rolls or remove this roll conditions on them.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying for the for the enchant buff thing. I'm like, no. Every other one does like +1/+1.
Virtuous roll though, like in a this is Selesnya, so we're all immediately thinking Enchantress, right? Maybe. So +1/+1 for each enchantment you control, not aura, is pretty sick. Obviously, there's going to be a reminder text on the roll. Given roll, there's 6 rolls that come in this set. Whenever an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. The only thing that could have made that second ability better is if it said an enchanted creature as well. Or rather, an enchantment creature. So you would have it both ways. I mean, I don't see why an enchantment creature wouldn't also fit into this fanciful theme, but they needed to restrict it somehow. So what's cool about this is that it triggers more than once, right? You can have multiple enchanted creatures. You're clearly enchanting a creature with Elevere. That creature's going to be massive. You probably wouldn't need to put the Virtuous Roll on Elevere. I'd probably put it on my Esper Sentinel, because why wouldn't I want you to pay more instead of, letting me draw? This is really good. I think that it's not really solving any issues that Selesnya has. Like I mentioned earlier, haste enabling in the CZ would be really cool for this color, because we do have a lot of ways to generate a mass amount of tokens in Selesnya. We just don't have a way to get them swinging without a third utility. If that third utility were in the command zone, that'd be really cool. I think as a potential Enchantress leader, I'm going to say this should be for an Enchantress deck. I don't think it's better than Sithis, and I think it fits into the casual, maybe B territory.
I would say it's either B or A in my opinion, because I
Okay.
think this can actually compete with Sithis. And the only reason why is because this is buffing all of your creatures very slowly, making this a pretty good stacks commander, but also making this a beatdown commander. So unlike
Hmm.
Sithis, this gives you a very, very, very clear way of ending the game. Because remember, each role token is going to buff all the other role tokens you have as well, meaning that if you have 5 creatures each with the role tokens on them, that's 25 extra damage you're doing per turn.
To be honest, I completely forgot. It's not only ETB, so this isn't pay for do nothing. Like you're getting additional value out of this. It's also on the attack, like Will just said. Totally
Yeah.
forgot.
It'll trigger
That's
Constellation.
really
It'll
good.
keep buffing your board more and more and more. So all of your mana dorks are eventually just going to become massive, and you're drawing into more enchantments that you can use to make your
Ooh.
things even bigger. So if you're staxing people out, you're just going to be killing people very
Oh,
quickly with
and then
this.
just put double strike on something. Are there auras that just give your creatures double strike in these colors? I don't think so.
There's a couple. I think there's like 2 to 3.
Oh, okay. Well, I say that because the deal's damage business. It's okay. B. I would say B. I don't know how the
Yeah,
audience. I feel like we're so
I
espresso.
think it's still B because A would be like it's a thing that you'll see kind of consistently in cEDH, and then S
Right.
is like this is a new house kind of thing.
I
I think we
agree.
have like 1 or 2 cards that are S tier in the set, but only
Mm.
1 or 2.
Going to recommend A here. Light Pause has taught me repeatable. All that glitters is gray. Well, Light
Oh
Pause
yeah,
is, mind you, though. Light Pause does fish that out, though, right? I don't know. There is something to be said about having a good utility in the deck and being able to tutor for it instantaneously, like Oswald in the Ring now, like Light Pause, and as you said, all that glitters. Having that consistency in the CZ is important. Draw is sort of the default for most cEDH commanders, just because having more options is always better, but also it allows you to expedite play lines, any fast mana you draw into, all of that. This is all relatively obvious, but it's interesting. I feel like there is a distinction there though between tutoring and drawing. Sometimes tutoring is better in the CZ, sometimes drawing is better in the CZ. I think by and large, I'd say like 9 out of 10 times, just having draw in the command zone is safe. So Elevir is a very safe B, and I agree with you. The fact that she can attack and just start, it's really dope. It's
it's
self
it's
fulfilling.
yeah, it's another iteration of a Jetmir Renota. Like it's you just get value by going aggro.
Yeah, I like where she's at in B. If you guys want to argue for a higher ranking, please do. If you agree, leave a little beer emoji. Look how fun this is. Look how oh no. I want to encourage more of this because I kind of like what it does. Okay. I agree with myself. Ariette of the Charmed Apple. The Charmed Apple is also a card from the set. So we've got a generic in Orzhov. A lot of these are mythic, aren't they? 2/4 Human Warlock. Each creature that's enchanted by an aura you control can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. Interesting. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of auras you control. Hush now. I need your I need your beauty sleep. Okay.
This card is fantastic in my opinion.
Okay.
It's somewhere between A and B for me. I could go either way, but I'm only saying this because I had a deck that was very similar to this, but much, much, much slower, and that was a Sarvok with Noble Heritage as the background, or Sarabok, however you pronounce that. You remember him? He's the Aladdin sword guy. Um,
Mm,
and then the the thing with this commander is just you can use your random auras to prevent your opponents from attacking you, on top of the fact that you will be burning people out very quickly. If you're using the cantrip auras, the just kind of cheap things that you can run,
mhm.
then you can get a board of like 7 auras out pretty easily, and that's 7 damage per turn on each opponent, and you're gaining 7 life. And if your opponents kill your commander, you replay your commander and you still have all the auras out and all the, because it's if I remember correctly, it's yeah, for every aura, not every enchantment.
Yeah,
But it's
if
still just this gets removed, you replay it, and then you deal 7 more damage.
I mean, if the thing you're placing the auras on is her, then the whole strategy kind of topples.
I
That's
think
my
it's removement auras more than anything else. Like it's
you.
removal auras and like a little bit of utility
All right,
aura.
so like Darksteel mutation kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then the
Hmm.
what is it called? The like icy blank thing, the
Right.
enchant of snowland.
No, no, I know what you're talking about. I want to say C, honestly. I don't know. I feel like there are better Orzovian commanders. I've gone over it before, but there's the one I really like, Kambal. I think Kambal is better than this. So far as like it's doing a similar thing, but it's not quite the same thing. But Kambal is one in Orzhov as well, and it's a 2/3 body. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So without the need to make a deck that's doing a particular thing that may or may not be good, it just relies on your opponents using their resources and casting non-creature spells, which is a majority of most decks. I think the damage output is going to be better here than it is there. And you don't have to waste slots on utilities you might not otherwise use. And you're still gaining life to do your own ad nauseum strategy, which is probably what you're doing. I don't think she's better than Kambal, and I would say Kambal is like a B. So I would maybe give her C.
The only reason why I think that she's better than Kambal is a non-bow with a lot of your stacks pieces. If you're preventing people from playing cards, then Kambal becomes
Oh
worse
no,
and worse
no.
and worse.
I wouldn't build Kambal that way. I had a Kambal. I wouldn't I go what you're saying. Like you're saying like the deafening silences and stuff of the world, like if you're
Yeah,
going the Staxy route.
yeah. I'd say this is stacks commander. This is a you
My
stacks and control and watch the world burn type of deck.
my issue is that why couldn't it just be enchantments?
Oh, it
I
would be sick if it was just enchantments. I
it
would
would
love.
be it would be a B. It would be good if it was enchantments. I feel like it's I don't know, audience, where are you, Will, on this?
I think that it's a B. I'd say that's lower than the other two on the B scale, but I'd say that it's a B.
All right. I'm leaving this one to the audience. We'll let this poll run for the next legendary and then we'll close it out. I think that will be the formula. Let me know where you guys land on Ariette. I think she's fine. Again, I like Kambal more personally, but I haven't played Ariette, so maybe she's really good. Not to lead the witness here. Godric, cloaked reveler. 1 generic double red 3/3 legendary creature, human noble haste. Another celebrator. All right. They should have done a panorama set of cards with all the celebrators like celebrating in the same, festival or whatever. That would have been really sick. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, Godric, Cloaked Reveler, is a dragon with base power and toughness 4/4, flying, and of course, fire breathing. But specifically, dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So, go wide dragon strategy.
Would not even. This is a D. It's not even a C because it's a 3-mana 4/4 flying haste, which is fantastic, but
3/3, 3/3.
no, it's a 4/4 dragon is the
Oh
idea.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
sure.
but then you need to build into dragons, and there are just better mono red dragon commanders, and giving everything like a collective fire breathing just isn't it, Chief.
To answer this question, what is this? Is that Patrick from the other cEDH channel? If you guys haven't caught on, there was a rebrand recently. This is Local Game Group. We're going to be discussing other things here. But yes, this is Patrick of the 99. Tell your friends. Share the news. I realize that people were confused by the transition, but I'm still here. I'm around. I'm alive. D, Godric. Yeah, I don't have anything to say to what you said. I think it's okay. And you're absolutely right. There are definitely better dragon commanders. I don't think it's necessarily for our format, I suppose, but I don't even know how many dragons are in the set to even allow for that ability to be better than just fire breathing for him. I guess it's just an added bonus that it works with other things. So,
Yeah,
where are we on Area yet?
looks like a C.
Looks like a C, smells like a C, must be a C. No offense there yet. But if you want to make it, I'm happy to see it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, that's not an order to do what you want. But
Yeah, like I'll try brewing it at some point because it's
ooh,
an interesting deck.
we should have a day where we only play Orzhov Legends and just see who's the best. That's fun, right?
Yeah,
Everyone needs to know.
it's probably gonna be like Brina or something like that.
Mm,
Brina's just the best draw one.
yeah, fact. Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So unless we're allowing partner Tavesh, because Tavesh,
Tevesh plus something.
no, Tavesh
Um,
plus the guy who auto equips Arden. Arden Tavesh is
Arden, yeah.
legit. Arden Tavesh is legit. Okay, Greta, Sweet Tooth Scourge. I don't know why I had to say it that way. One generic and Golgari, 3/3 in the uncommon slot, so everyone's gonna pull it. Legendary creature, human warrior. The caramel apple in the background that looks like he's about to murder her is my favorite of the sweet tooth monsters. But what is your favorite sweet tooth monster? Let me know. That one's hilarious though. When Greta Sweet Tooth Scourge enters the battlefield, create a food token. Delicious. So I smell ETB shenanigans, all the artifacts. What are we doing here? We pay a green, sacrifice a food, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. Really good with Agatha's Cauldron. Pay a generic and a black, sacrifice a food, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Oh, so we do have an outlet, except you will die using it. So you dig as much as you can. It's like it's like ad nauseum. Except very much more expensive. Well, speaking of Agatha's Cauldron, it eases the burden of these effects by making them generic, but I don't know that she is playable. I think that this would be a cool casual commander because Golgari is a strong part of the color pie, and these effects aren't bad. I don't like that the +1/+1 counter manipulation is only sorcery speed, to be perfectly honest. I like to have bites of food on the go. I commonly eat while I'm walking. I think that it could be an instant speed activity. But you tell me. Well,
it would have been a good combat trick. It should have been a thing. I don't know why it's not. Why it isn't an instant. I'll say that there's better food commanders that we've already gotten. Like I know we've gotten a bunch of different chefs and stuff like that, and it's the fact that this is just ETB make 1 food and you can pay 2 to draw a card and lose a life after sacrificing a food feels awful. There's other commanders that do it better.
right. I don't, at least with what's illustrated here, I kind of wish it was also like our other legendary, whenever ETBs and on the attack, so you can keep like hacking away, these food monsters and making more food for yourself or whatever. I feel like she could have been an on the attack creative food token. That would have been really, and she still wouldn't have been like horribly busted, but she would have been able to fuel her other abilities. She's a mana sink, right?
Yeah.
But I can see why they had to. You can't just generate food like that easily, because then you could just gain 3 life in other formats endlessly unless this is removed.
I think that this could have had like attack make a food and that would have been totally fine.
Still, okay.
Yeah.
It enters tapped. How about that? But none of this matters because they didn't do that. D? Oh, D or C?
Yeah, D. I'd say D.
Okay. I agree. It seems like the audience is Timna Tavesh is Orzhov. You're right, Corrosive. Timna Tavesh would be Orzhov. Lotho seemed like a good brew when you did it. And I agree, Wizard. I totally forgot. Lotho is really good for turbo decks. I'm with you guys on D. Abzos is B. Jaheira can make food a mana rock. Oh, yeah. They were afraid. That's what. Yeah. And next we have Gilwaine, casting director. Hey,
Blame the Rock Johnson.
right. Where do I send my resume? No, this is like his cousin or nephew, dude. He's so much scrawnier than The Rock. But we have generic Selesnya, 2/3 body, legendary creature, human bard. Excuse me. Is this going to be the best Selesnyan legendary? Let's find out. Whenever Gawain, casting director, or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose only one. This is really sick. We really do need to know what these tokens do, though. Okay, yeah, okay. We'll be able to look at them in a second.
Yeah, they're on the side if you want to.
Some of them weren't featured when I was checking. This really needs the explainer. Create a royal roll token attached to target to that creature. Okay, cool. Create a sorcery roll token.
I'll read them off. So royal roll token is a +1/+1 and ward 1.
Awesome. Already awesome. Like Esper Sentinel. 2/2 ward 1. Good. Okay, yep. So sorcery roll token attached to that creature.
Sorcery roll token is +1/+1, and when it attacks, you get to scry 1.
Good. It's kind of like a blue thing. So we're kind of dipping into other parts of the color pie here. And create a monster roll token.
+1/+1 and trample.
So this is really cool. Do I wish it worked on tokens? God, severely, because that's all Selesnya wants to do.
If it worked on tokens, this would probably be an A tier or an S tier, because you could easily infinite combo.
He would be so good. Yes, yeah. But as it stands, so he's not hiring extras for the role. Okay, he wants Hollywood, A-list, maybe some B-list celebrities, but none of your token shit is what I'm saying. Okay, he only wants the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop here. I feel like Gawain this is such a cool effect. None of these loot or draw, right? One is just card quality with scry.
You get scrying, ward, and trample are the 3 things you get off of them.
I C. For me, C. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say C, because this can do good constellation things, because every creature becomes an ETB trigger off of your constellation effects, in addition to the fact that you can just ward up all your important pieces, scry off of your non-important pieces, and then you can trample your big guys. It's cool, it's good utility, it's not enough to be competitive. If it hit tokens, it would probably be an A.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the kind of devastation you could do if this was just any creature entering the battlefield, like the amount of token generation that just exists. But as it stands, it seems like the audience is sort of torn. So we have B, maybe. Hanahimana says, I don't know, Gawain seems like he has potential, but makes my head hurt. Yeah. If Virtuous was an option, yes, Wizard. If Virtuous was an option, but how many casting directors do you know that are virtuous? He does so much you can justify a heavy flicker theme. Somewhere between A and B, says Hanahimana, and Corrosive says Big D. Wow, we've got like a real scatter shot of opinions on Gawain. I'm gonna say C personally, but where are you, Will?
I'd say C.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. I think he's really cool. I will not be disappointed if I have to play him. I do think the person playing Elvir, the person playing Elvir is going to have an easier time during our live stream, but I still think Gawain has some chops. Like, I think it'll be really fun to play. We have Hilda of the Icy Crown. I think the Icy Crown is also an artifact you can play from the set. 2 generic and Azorius. 3/4 legendary creature, human, warlock. So many mythics. Whenever you tap an untapped creature an opponent controls, you may pay 1. When you do, choose 1. Create a 4/4 white and blue elemental creature token. No abilities, just that. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Okay. Scry 2, then draw a card. These are all good effects. Do I wish the elemental token was a flyer? Yeah. Do I want to make Croms every turn? Yes. There's not necessarily a good... You have the Icy Manipulator. What are you going to be using to tap down opposing... Let's just start there. What are you using to tap down stuff?
So you can use some stacks pieces like tangle wire, things like that, that
Hmm.
can when someone does blank, they have to tap blank, or at the beginning of blank, they have to tap blank. So those effects will trigger this, and I think that that's pretty good. The other ones are just kind of the cheap white
Hmm.
creatures that say tap target creature. So that's kind of it.
It's odd because it's an additional cost. Would this have been broken if it just said whenever you tap an untapped creature an opponent controls, choose one?
Potentially, just because then there's the ability to do like mind over matter things where you just discard a
Mm,
card, tap something, scry two, draw one, and then you can do some fixing. But even then, that's like, oh yeah, if you have mind over matter, the two blue, 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 blue cost enchantment in play. So yeah, it's not that big of a problem. I think it's a fine commander, but not anything crazy. I'd say like
no.
C or B. I think C just because we don't have any good easy tap effects. Like I've looked through them, it's hard to get good tap effects.
So you're going to say C?
Yeah.
Right, because I want permanent base solutions that are doing this consistently. So I guess the first thing you can think of is maybe like a decent instant attached to Isochron Scepter, but that's not enough. And I would want it to hit multiple things at the same time because I'm going to get as many of these activations as possible. But the fact that I have to use resources while I'm at it to do this is kind of tricky too. The value's there though. I'm with you on C. I don't feel like there's a build around B for this yet until more cards come out that make tapping things down easier. But I agree. Hilda Big Mommy energy. I'm with you. I am feeling the Big Mommy energy. Imidane the Pyro Hammer. This, she looks like she means business. And another piece of great art. Okay. 2 generic in double red. A lot of the red cards from this set have my favorite art. So 4/4 body, legendary creature, human knight. Okay. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, Imidane deals that much damage to each opponent. Has to be single targeting spell. So if I were to lightning bolt Imidane, there's no other target. Imidane, everyone gets bolted. This
Yeah.
is interesting. It's not like this is difficult to build for. Are there many cantrip based bolts, shocks, pingers? Like, okay, so this is a really interesting territory to play in. There isn't any inherent value outside of the damage. Like, you're not drawing cards, so you're gonna be behind just casting things that hurt things. Um, it's fine. I would say that this is like D to C, unless there's something I'm missing.
So there's a couple pretty big burn effects. Like you can do 2 mana deal 10 pretty easily in Commander, and
Right, and
it's
it's okay that it's overkill. We should
yeah,
state there.
because if you overkill the thing, it's still 10 damage to each opponent, and you're going to be killing people very quickly off of that. In addition, that if you have any damage multiplier, this becomes insane, because if you lightning bolt someone and you have a damage doubler, you deal 6 damage to the creature, then you deal 12
Mm,
damage to each opponent instead. So there's a lot of interesting things that you can do that turn small target damage into big kill player effects. And the
right.
fact that you can just make a mono red control deck that inevitably just turns all of your control removal tools into kill everybody is pretty nice. This is in no way like A tier. I will say that to start off. But I would say that this is B solely due to the fact that you can either go big damage effects for cheap, which we have a couple of those in EDH, or damage multipliers to make a 1 mana deal 10 to each opponent or like 12 to each opponent pretty easily.
I guess my qualm is that like you're restricted to gamble. Or like you're what I don't. You're not going to reliably get to the damage modifiers in mono red, right? How many other tutors do we have that are going to find those solutions? It's really just gamble
Yeah, but
off the top of my head.
we have enough damage multipliers. I think we
Is
run
there
or we have like 9 damage multipliers in the
so
game.
you have the redundancy, I guess, is what you're saying. I can
Yeah.
agree with that. And how many slots need to be used for those? Is there one attached to a body? Because then you can imp recruiter one, I guess.
think there might be one attached to a body. I can quickly look.
Oh yeah, sure, sure. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Imidane? Audience, this is a tricky one for me because I like mono red. I like brewing mono red.
This is easily the weirdest one. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
will say that without any problems. So let's see. Angrat's Marauders is one that's on a body, but you can't find off Imperial Recruiter. We have the Phyrexian God in red. That's also a damage doubler. Um, double damage, double damage, double damage, double damage. Let's see how many there are. I'm gonna quickly check it.
Oh, the Goblin Tutor. They're saying you can also use the Goblin Tutorer.
Yeah, but we need to have a
A
goblin.
goblin. I don't do
Yeah.
it. But no, thank you, Abso. I don't know if there are. Well, that's kind of important to note for the future, I suppose. If you do decide to play Imidane, that's like good fuel. Get your goblin recruiters now. With Terulf would be wild. Terulf. I don't remember Terulf. B for threatening for fast game. I almost feel like this is not too dissimilar to just playing that one Autobot that puts you in two
Slicer.
colors.
Slicer, right?
Is Slicer mono red or
Yeah, Slicer's mono red.
I feel like Slicer is probably just better at the strategy because it doesn't really demand much of you, and you can sort of just run whatever the heck else you want in your deck.
Yeah, it's my main issue with Slicer is people hard kill Slicer, and Slicer will become taxed out of oblivion. And the fact that he's an artifact creature makes it a little bit easier to kill him.
Yeah.
Because I played Slicer, he feels awkward because also if someone kills Slicer, you lose the whole commander damage thing, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not like you can just easily kill someone after Slicer is gone. Whereas with Imodane, you can just use some burn effects to finish off that like 8 damage you're missing on a player who's trying to win.
So compared to other mono red legends, so Slicer, I've lost to a Slicer before, although the Slicer player subsequently lost as well. Like it was a very weird game. The strategy is there is no strategy, it's just chaos, which is fine. But Imidane has an angle of approach that could be consistent. I wish there was more to the card. Her being a 4-drop, it doesn't feel good if you just pass the turn.
Yeah.
I think she's C for me, man. But wherever
I'm,
you all feel,
I'm
audience.
fine with saying C. I feel like it could be a B, but it is one of those cards that's going to be super hard to judge, and no one's going to know how well this works until it's played.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know if you do build Imidane. Definitely leave it in the comments section after this video. I'd be happy to look at it. I'd be interested to see what it's utilizing. But Johan, Apprentice Sorcerer for 2, and is it 2/5 body legendary creature, human wizard, uncommon. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. That's right. That's right. So they're like, I'm gonna ad nauseum. Wait.
Look at the top.
Wait. That's okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. Continue. Just to scare them, as you have your counterbalance down, you're like, let me just look at that. Let me just look at this counterbalance card. Once each turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from the top of your library. So this means your turn. This means your opponent's turn. You still pay its cost. Timing rules still apply. Thank you for the reminder text. Okay. This is kind of dope. I like counterbalance decks. I don't know. Having information is always valuable to me. You don't generally run the information cards, though. It's one of those things, they fall into that territory where people get upset if you're like getting information on people's hands or people's decks. Outside of Opposition Agent, I'd say that's maybe the only one that feels fair game to most players, but otherwise people don't like having you look at their shit 24/7. Looking at your own stuff, though, that's valid. Having a legendary that does it, and in this way, it's a card advantage if you build a particular way. And most Izzet lists that are doing Izzet right are going to have a influx of instants and sorceries. So you'll have stuff to cast off the top of your library. Is 4 for a 2/5 that does this enough?
No.
No.
You can look at it as if you want to look at other top deck commanders, you have Reality Chip. Some people are also saying Melik in chat, which
Yeah.
think I know what that is. That's the copy if you cast from the top guy, right? Yeah.
Right.
So it's you can pay 2 more and play Melik, play as many instants or sorceries as you want per turn, and copy them if you play it. So it's 2 more generic for insane grindy value
Hmm.
and unlimited casts. So this is one of the worst top deck cast commanders that you can play. And then in addition to that, it's just a meh is it commander in general, because if you look at the other commanders like Vadrik or something like that, it just gets blown out of the water.
And speaking of Gale Waterdeep,
Oh yeah, true. We have the Gale Guild Artisan is another option.
yeah, I would say Gale Guild Artisan is maybe better than this as well. I would say Johan fits into the C territory. Someone said it best, I think. Mike says it's my first spell slinger deck. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, someone will play this. Someone will be interested in Commander. Maybe that was the goal. Good job, Wizards. And they'll want to play into Magic's most popular format. I think that it's a C. I don't think it's unplayable. Um, like Will said, they're certainly better, but I don't think it's bad. There are only so many. Like you guys mentioned, Melik. I don't know if there's another 1-to-1. This has better stats than Melik, but it's not necessarily better. It is easier to play, though. So there's that. It's fine. C. I don't think it's a D. That's for sure.
yeah.
Oh,
I think it could be a D, but I'm fine with saying a C. It's on the lower end of C for me.
yeah, yeah, but just look at the way he's running away from his own creations or whatever's going on here. It's so stupid. Um, Johan. All right, this is the one. We got to look at the cool art too. This is the art that everyone's gonna want to buy. God, okay, Kellen, take me away. What are you doing, Kellen? What are you doing with my heart? Kellen the Fey Blooded, 2 generic and a red, 2/2, legendary creature, human, fairy. Oh, I'd like to read that fanfic. Birthright boon for a generic and a white, sorcery speed, adventure. Search your library for an aura or an equipment card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. I don't know what shuffle means, but we'll look that up later. Double strike. Just double strike. Okay, love it. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 for each aura and equipment attached to Kellen the Fey Blooded. So if Kellen gets nuked, the auras are gone unless they're the type of aura that comes back to your hand or, whatever. Equipment stick, though. And I think that this is just circumstantial value. Again, I mentioned Esper Sentinel a lot because it's one of the core cards in white. Obviously, you have Archivist of Ogma. There's a couple of other just white utilities you'll have, not to mention any of your hate bears. So if you're on Eidolon Rhetoric, Archon of Emeria, Ether Sworn Canonist, all of those are just going to profit off of Kellen getting big, and Kellen helps himself get big. If you are in a position where you have I want to say infinite mana in Boros. I'm trying to think of the infinite mana lines in Boros. There are some, but most of them are in red. So doing the birthright boon multiple times to just extract all of your auras and equipment, maybe not the most logical thing. I think you're gonna like cherry pick your favorite options and then play them out after you've played Kellen. I like Kellen a lot. I don't know if this is any better than any other Boros legendary though, and I don't. Is this better than any of the equipment draw Boros legendaries?
I think the toolbox side of it is just really useful because you can get a removal aura, you can get an equipment that makes treasures, you can get a Sunforger, which allows you to play from your deck for the rest of the game, and that's just a freaking menace by itself. But
Sunforger would be sick. I agree. Just being able to grab that immediately
yeah,
because this is in your command zone. I totally agree.
Kellen is like a very interesting I can grind Boros commander, which you don't see that too often. And the fact that you can just keep casting it and putting it back to the command zone isn't terrible, but you can also just cast it, get Colossal Hammer, and then play it as a creature, Colossal Hammer it, and it's swinging for 24 commander damage.
Which is auto kill.
Lethal.
It's
Yes.
so I don't know. Like, what is the? God, I like this more than all of the other Boros drop legendaries. I think those are just so lame brained and they're not fun. This actually makes you think. Like, it depends on what you're playing against. This is why I like Oswald. You have options. and I can get those options whenever I want. You are limited to the one adventure unless you put it back in the CZ, and then the sorcery speed spell is going to cost 2 more to cast. Am I mistaken? So you are hurt in that instance. But if you just get a on damage draw aura, you're set up in the same way those other commanders are, except you're doing it more effectively and more efficiently. Also, you're, like I was saying earlier, benefiting your board, which is not a bad thing. It really depends on how you build this out. I'm trying to think of like, like a partner pairing with Arden and something else is better. There's clearly better options than just playing Kellen. But as a Boros legendary in that space, I like it. I want to say it's between a B and an A. It's not S. I don't know how many games it's going to win outright.
I'd say just because it's a toolbox commander in Boros, it does something that pretty much no other commander is really doing at the moment. It's probably a B. It just fits that weird niche and it does it well enough.
Yeah. So let me see here. What does the audience say? Moon Silver Spear, pretty good. Moon Silver Spear is pretty good. Just making angels on the attack, I believe. Oh, is it on damage? No. Well, at any rate, obviously
that's really quick. That is also something to note. Grab any of the swords, and then you get double triggers from any of the swords, like Sword of Fire and Ice. So you're good. You win the game.
Ooh, so good. So one of the issues, double strike being on the body of one of these Boros, Voltron commanders is so important to note. Like that keyword is so good in these builds. So, damn, that really does add to the utility, doesn't it? And not having to get a piece of equipment. That's why I like Balan, because Balan does get double strike when you have enough equipment. Except she is mono white, so you're limited, and she does not have a tutor immediately. So interesting. He shares no colors with his dad. Who's his daddy?
Oko, apparently.
Stop. Oh, that's sick. Duly noted. Okay. Shifting Shadows can turn him into a 1-card polymorph card, but it's a bit slow. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, I guess you can find. I don't know what you do as the outlet for it, because it'd flip the outlet away pretty quickly as well. You can find Avacyn, the Shuffle Titans.
Oh, well, Randolph, I love the idea. What? Yeah. I need to have a think on a Shifting Shadow. Anyway, well, I want to have a think on that. That's not a bad idea. It does sort of negate its other static effect, but that's fine.
Yeah. The whole thing with Shifting Shadows is it doesn't sacrifice the thing, it destroys it. So if you get Avacyn, the indestructible Avacyn, or any other indestructible creature or Shuffle Titan, you just start making a big board. So I think, yeah, Shifting Shadows version of the deck could be interesting. I do also just love the idea of doing a Glamdring deck as well, where you just do oh yeah, my commander is getting like +5/+0, and then I cast 2 7-drops from my hand for free.
That's really not bad. I don't know. Once again, I bring up the value of Light Paws. Tutoring in the CZ is amazing. At worst, you tutor a draw equipment. At best, you tutor a Silver Bullet. A, because of its flexibility. B for Boros. A, agree. Wow, I feel like some of us are landing on A. Let me just put this to a poll, because I'm kind of torn, like...
Yeah, I got talked into potentially A off of that. I want to put it to a poll. But I think it could be an A or a B for me, just because the Shifting Shadows is a really good idea, actually, and the Swords of work so well with it. So
do we want to brew this? I kind of want to brew this now.
I feel like the brews are pretty straightforward, because it's either you go for the swords and or Shifting Shadow, and then you just only run the big indestructible creatures or creatures that shuffle themselves back in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you want like the Hammer of Nazan effects, you want the Sigarda's Aid, you want the stuff that's going to auto equip this. And if you're auto equipping something with haste, preferably, that'd be great. Depending on which route you go, but you have options. All right. Moving on. I'm going to let you guys decide. I like Kalan a lot. I don't know if it's going to break the format or anything. It's certainly not going to shape it, but I think it's playable. I think it's more than playable.
It'll at minimum be a flavor of the week commander from the set. Like, it'll be something people will try out.
Well, for sure. And potentially, Corvold's there too. So we've got Corvold, Gleeful Glutton for 5 generic, and what are these colors? Jund. 4/4 legendary creature Dragon Nobel. This cost 1 less to cast for each card type among permanents you've sacrificed this turn. Sorry, treasure seekers, ain't gonna be that easy. Flying, trample, haste. Whenever Corvold deals combat damage to a player, put X 1/1 counters on Corvold and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanent types among cards in your graveyard.
I will say, interesting commander, works kind of well, but also kind of weird. I'll start off by saying this is worse than the OG Corvold by like a good amount.
And
But
that one's hard to. They both get shot down very easily. They're both very self-destructive, and I'm sorry,
yeah.
but you're saying
The reason why I do like this Corvold is it's just a big dumb hasty dragon that will immediately draw you a bunch of cards when it hits, and it will always draw like that same set amount of cards unless you get hit by Grave Hate. So it will be expensive, but if you do this right, you can get this out on like turn 2 or turn 3 because you're in the fast mana colors,
Yeah.
like literally everything to ramp, and then you'll draw like 4 to 5 cards off of it and make it an 8/8.
right. So among permanents you control, you have an artifact, you can have enchantment, you have a creature, you can have a land, your fetch land, right? Any other permanents I'm missing? Battle?
Yeah.
Battle?
So it's artifact, enchantment, creature, land, planeswalker, battle, and I think there's another one because I think it's 6. I think it's 6 is the maximum that we have because of battle. But you can entomb battle for what is it? The battle for Ikoria. You can entomb battle for Ikoria, and then this just gives you an extra draw every turn.
Right, for that. But I'm thinking about reducing its cost. So realistically, the cost reduction is going to be hard to come by. As someone in the audience already said, why downgrade Corvold? I think that they realized with the way they constructed the previous Corvold, there was maybe like a little bit of an issue with how it worked. But even still, when that thing bricks, you're just done. It's bad times. But if you go through the trouble of trying to set up this Corvold and get it countered, you're just out. And I don't really think your friends are going to do that to you, but it's such a tough setup. I'm not, I don't know.
I will say, how does this get countered? Not in like no one will do anything about it. It's I'm saying that as in like it's a creature, and people usually don't have creature counters, at least in cEDH.
Wait,
so
what is this hit? Stern Scolding, Power and I'm thinking of all the people really like Stern Scolding now. Well, what else is there? I don't know. No one really mainlines those kind of counters. I get what you're saying.
Primarily like Force of Will and Mana Drain are the 2 that you'll see, and delay. So those are the 3 that people run that will hit Corvold. So I don't think it's getting countered. And then it'll enter and maybe get like insta-killed is the one concern that you have. But I think that this is it's an acceptable commander that you can just kind of turbo out and refill your hand, and then it will be a draw engine from there on out. And hopefully you're also just running reanimates in the deck, so if this gets killed, you just pay 2 and bring it back.
So we have D. We have Fun C. Baby Lysaga with red. Baby Lysaga with red. We have F tier. Art is atrocious. LP.
I will say, not a big fan of the art, and also I just want to have a snicker at the fact that I am imagining him running around eating stuff, going.
Yeah,
he's the gleeful glutton in this art.
Yeah, it's so goofy. He doesn't look that gleeful, for being honest, but maybe that's how dragons look gleeful. I am with the audience. I think D, because there are definitely better Jund legendaries that you should consider over this.
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever. I'm not attached to any specific placement on this.
You're so neutral on the world. You just want to see the animated series of him laughing around and chuckling.
Yeah, I think like he could definitely be anywhere between like the B tier to D tier in my opinion, but I'm not strong on any of those positions. If someone says, yeah, he's D tier, I'm like, okay. If someone says he's B tier, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, same. Wizard says same style of commander as Atraxer for what that's worth. Yeah. Well, and if you want to see Atraxa play for the final time, Here's just a little promotion. Watch our Friday Night Magic yesterday. This is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna get to plug Friday Night Magic every Saturday. But yeah, we got to see Atraxa play 3 times. Did it win once, twice, or 3 times, or no times? Watch to find out. We played with Play to Win. So if you didn't tune in to that, you should tune in after this. All 3 games are great. Really fun time. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. There aren't enough likes in this video. Like it if you're enjoying the commentation.
We may potentially have like some snips from that stream pop up on our channel. I don't know if anything was notable or cool, but I know that when we have interesting things pop up on live streams, we try to put it into shorts because that gets more views and it lets more people see it.
It was all notable and cool though. But yeah, I could cut it together. I sent the footage to Play to Win though, so if they want to do something with it, they can. So little promotion for their own stuff there. But you should check out their channel and check out the game. It was very fun. I would say Atraxa is better. Okay, so big fellow that fills hands. 8 mana, he's outvalued even in casual. It's better than
this. 8 mana or 6 mana because you're probably cracking a treasure and a land.
Right. It still work though. Oh, that sounds awesome. Play to Win are also great fun. They were great fun and they were awesome to play with. It's been a while since I played with them. And your first time playing with them, Will, I guess.
Yeah.
Were they awesome and fun, or were they? You can be honest, they're not here.
Yeah, they were good to play with. I just wish that I can get past my my live stream hand curse because I think the first time we did Friday Night Magic before yesterday, I had like 2 Society games where I did nothing, but I still won one, and then I had my Magar game where I did literally nothing, and then on this stream, my decks did not show as well as they could. I was able to do things, but everyone else did more things.
Yeah, not to keep plugging it. I went to a hand of 5 in that first game and was not punished. You just watch the first like 5 minutes of the first game. It's good. It was good for me. It was really good for me. No one else enjoyed it. If you ever want to see mono white be arch enemy, learn from my example. I would educate you on the ways of Oswald. I play nothing but Oswald, so I'm not ashamed to say I think I'm fairly good with them. I'm not gonna lie though, playing other TCGs is really throwing me off of my mechanical game. I functionally am like having issues like connecting play lines when I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking through the lens of a different TCG, and then I'm looking at Magic, and it's like, oh god, what's the best option here? Luckily, the One Ring, I'm gonna spoil it. The One Ring makes everything very easy. Okay.
Yeah.
I
need to put the One Ring in Stick Fingers and Abdel at some point. I just haven't updated the lists.
God, maybe I am on the train of just putting the One Ring in every deck. I don't know. That seems to be everyone else's theory. We should do a video on this. This deserves to be its own video.
In my opinion, you put the One Ring in any deck that is either not fast or not running Ad Nauseam or Necropotence, or not like heavily going into Ad Nauseam or Necropotence. Those are the only 2 styles of decks that don't want the One Ring. Outside of that, it's the equivalent of like fast mana but draw.
Yeah, there's a reason it's so expensive. It's just one of those cards. I hope it doesn't get to like Jeweled Lotus levels of value. I feel like
it's already past Jeweled Lotus levels of value.
No. Well,
Paradox Engine levels
card
of value
or dollar value. I'm sorry. I mean like
got it. Yeah.
Right. I because I would like to get another copy. I don't have one, so it does. Anyways, I'm sorry. This is what am I? We're just talking. Okay.
Yeah, discussions.
Skittleless D. Thank you, Abzo, for putting us back on track. Has it been since a few brew? Oh, how long's it been since Brew Wars? A couple years, but you should be able to get some good gameplay from Friday Night Magic. Here's a little PSA as well. So to the audience members watching now, we're going to be updating the Discord soon. I want to start involving you all in Friday Night Magic. Before it was like a perk of our Patreon. Maybe we start up a Patreon to help start funding some of the projects I have in mind for what I want to do here, but we're not there yet, and I don't think I'm offering you anything beyond what you deserve from YouTube. So with F&M, we want to get it so that we have not only other creators in the space, but you all involved. So if you play cEDH and you want to play, just stay tuned for that. Keep your peepers peeled, because I just love playing games with people, and it just gives me an excuse to do that. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that announcement. But we have Lord Skittle, Sewer King. Someone who called it Skittle. Abzo, thank you. 2 generic and a black, 3/3, legendary creature, Rat Nobel. Whenever another rat enters the battlefield under your control, exile up to 1 target card from an opponent's graveyard. Ooh. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block. Okay, so this works with your tokens.
This card is really good in the 99. As a commander, it is a D. Like, it just being a grave hate engine and also creating sack fodder for whatever decks that you want sack fodder in is very nice, but that's about it.
Is this better than Bitter Blossom?
Bitter Blossom is it's about the
Bitter
same.
Blossom's a 2 cost, do nothing till your next turn. This is a 3 cost.
Do something immediately and
things.
grave hate, and you don't lose the life.
I know Bitter Blossom, they're flying tokens, right?
And they can block.
But it also damages you.
Yeah.
Right, I know. The blocking aspect's maybe one of the better elements of that card. Bitter Blossom's obviously going to fall into some of these very tribal decks that we're seeing here. This isn't really a relevant question. I'm just curious. Do you think this is better than Bitter Blossom?
It's around Bitter Blossom. I think it's probably better because of the utility, and it being 1 mana more is not really a consequence. So I think it's probably better than Bitter Blossom.
Is it better than Ophiomancer? Snake, death touchy snake. Generator.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And the only reason why is because that only makes the snake if you don't have a snake.
What? Well, but Ophiomancer at the beginning of each upkeep.
Correct. So if you have a sack outlet on board like Yawgmoth or something like that, you can get like 4 draws off of Yawgmoth versus this only giving you 1. But that requires you to have the sack outlet on board already.
I don't know. I just need 1 death touchy snake to say, Timna. No, Timna. No, Timna. Get out of here, Timna.
I mean, this is a 3/3. This blocks Timna.
That's true. Okay. Lord Skitter, S tier. Blocks Timna. No, it's D. Sorry.
Yeah, it's D, but it is like probably a B in the 99.
Yeah, we beat around the bush a little bit here, but I would say Lord Skitter is a D. Okay.
Yeah.
D is a commander in the 99. Good rat utility, not a good enough commander. Rats, we're the rats.
Yeah.
On that note,
rats. We're the rats.
What is this from something?
That's I don't know what that's from, but I just know that. Like it's some kind of meme. It's
what's that?
Someone's gonna bring it up in chat. I think it's like some kind of movie or TV show reference.
There was an Adult Swim show that had like the phrase, they coined the phrase "rats off to you." Rats off to you. And I forget what that show was. Maybe it's from that. I don't know. Anyways, on that note, Tyler Jacobson with Neva, Stalked by Nightmares. This is such sick art. The contrast between her and like the realm she's in. 2 generic Orzhov 2/2 body legendary creature, human, Nobel, uncommon, menace. When Neva, Stalked by Nightmares, enters the battlefield, return target creature or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on Neva, then scry 1. Casual?
I don't even know if this is casual because you never get enchantments in your graveyard. They've tried making this work so hard, but there's nothing that's like a clean get enchantments in your graveyard effect. This is a D.
Yeah.
I wish it was like in graveyard or exile, because then it would work with the Leonin loops, and that would be cool. But it doesn't.
Gosh, that'd be so good.
It won't do that. I hate it.
Right. The other enhancement they could have done just to stay with what they're doing here, it would have been cool if it was whenever a creature or enchantment you control is put into the graveyard, because then that's more practical. Like, that would actually trigger. And even then, I'd say she was fair. D. Neva.
Also, Eggoff says Germa, so I think that's what the rats, where the rats thing is from.
Oh, thanks. Oversized Ratatouille. C or B. The real question is, what colors will Aristocrats be the set. Just BR. Aristocrats. I like that. Thank you for stressing the rats. We've got Nimrus reprint. We have Obira, Dreaming Duelist. She duels in her sleep. Be careful. For Demir, 2/2 legendary creature fairy warrior, flash, flying, just like Nimrus. Yeah, just like Nimrus. Whenever another fairy enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. That's right, Bitter Blossom. Eat your heart out. I lose a life. We all lose a life. It's cool, I guess.
Well, I will say it's a commander that you can flash in to kill someone's Tymna if they attack you at any point.
Facts.
It's just a giant middle finger towards Tymna.
Oh, hey, yeah, there you go. Another Tymna blocker, S tier. Elvira, I think we're going to give it a D for Duelist.
Yeah, I wish that it could do things. You can probably do something to do Infinite Fairy ETBs. There are way better fairy commanders.
Combo with Bitter Blossom, let's go. Some good quality utility with Abzan Enchantress from the Commander Masters. Okay, well, we got through that one. Oh my god, what is this? Oh, what is this?
Little Chef.
Old Fitterfang. What?
Little Chef.
Yeah. Little Chef. Well, so everyone was saying that this is the overgrown Ratatouille. This is the life-size Ratatouille, but with like, it's a hell spawn. It's a rat fairy. What fairy was mating with rats?
Look, Patrick, you want to be terrified of it? It has flying. Look at the wings in the background.
Whoa, old Fitterfang. This is disgusting on so many levels. I don't want to see the fanfic for this one. I would love to see the Oko fanfic, the Kalan, the birth of Kalan. I don't want to see the fanfic for Fitterfang. Oh, fanfic, Fitterfang fanfics. Link your favorite ones. But 4 generic and a black, 3/4 legendary creature, rat fairy, and that's for everyone else. Again, I don't want to see them. Flying at the beginning of each end step. If God, I can't get over the art. Is the food token with the skull pie a thing?
Yes. Yeah, we've gotten that.
Shut up! What?
That's not even from this set. That's from the original Eldraine.
That's so true! Oh my god! They just look at wizards, connecting the dots. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, create a food token. Cool. Pay 2 in a generic, or just God, I can't even think right. Pay 2 generic and a black, sacrifice another creature or artifact food. Old Fitterfang gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
I want to point out the Abzo saying Flitterfang X Skittle. Now I'm gonna say that was the Phyrexian Skittle, and then we get just an oiled up Flitterfang with Phyrexian oil.
Ooh. Okay, I wish this was my reveal card. This would have been really cool. We got so many more hits if this was my reveal card. What's up with that? Those shorts. Okay.
Fear Factor Magic the Gathering card.
This is somehow the most disgusting Magic the Gathering. I feel like this should be banned.
It's a rat with bone wings eating a meat pie with intestines and organs coming out of it, like fair.
It's just upsetting me, okay? I feel like I shouldn't, children shouldn't be looking at this. And it's in the uncommon slot, so many children will be looking at this.
It's D. You can make a lot of food, but making a lot of food doesn't do a lot, and there's better Voltron commanders.
I would put it in F for Fitterfang if there was a slot. Oh, you left Fitterfang! Did you choose Fitterfang as the category? Do you see how Fitterfang is the image for this list? Did you purposely do that?
It's the first one that I put in. That's the reason why.
You started with the best one. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the random order. I think it was the last one released, so it was the first one that I could add.
Sorry,
what was I gonna say? Flitterfang. I'm blanking on the thing. Also, it's a Flitterfang, by the way.
Flitterfang.
Yeah,
that's not
because of bat wings.
That's not as good as Fitterfang. Sorry. No, yeah, that's even better. Wow, Wizards just stealing all the ideas. Una, Queen of the Fae, not one of the cards. Rankle, Master of Pranks, not one of the cards. Rowan, Sign of War, however.
the S tier. Don't even we don't even have to talk about it. We've brewed this on the last Untapped. This card is gross in so many ways and just hyper consistent. S tier. It will be a Rakdos commander that exists for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally. We have a poll going.
Oh, do
Wow.
we? Oh
Is
yeah, I
this
closed it.
This is Kellen. Oh wow. Okay, thank you. 24 votes say that Killon is A tier. That is interesting. Okay, so
Sure.
that makes me think that Rowan could be.
It's like S
Ah,
tier is not like the tier one overpowered
no, no,
commanders.
no,
S tier is
no.
just like the consistent commanders that you will see around like
Right,
a good amount of
right,
the time.
right. Do you feel like this is better than Ob Nixilis? Or like obviously
Yeah,
they're doing different things. They're doing different things. Ob Nixilis requires you brew a specific way. You want pingers. You'll have mana barbs in that deck. You won't have mana barbs in Rowan. Rowan's just going to use good Rakdos stuff.
yeah.
But she
It's
doesn't give you card value the same way Ob Nixilis does. What do you think's more viable? What do you think's more playable?
I would say if there is a color that does not need card draw or a color pair that doesn't need card draw, it would be like Rakdos and Grixis. Those are the colors that can draw everything or have such good card selection they can find whatever they want whenever they want. The one thing that makes Rakdos a little bit weaker is just sometimes they have to pay a lot of mana and the rituals aren't enough. Rowan fixes that hardcore.
So the audience says S tier, Rowan's S tier. Rowan is S tier for sure, at least in
Yeah.
comparison to the rest of the set. But this set isn't equal to Ob. But this isn't equal to Ob. In my opinion, anything that can reduce cost is great. How many people use medallions though? Like, I think that this is reducing it to an extent and very easily that it
Yeah.
becomes
These are
hyper
medallions
playable.
on steroids, or Rowan is medallion on steroids.
Right. Because I don't really use medallions. I don't know. Like I'll use the inverse. I'll use Thorn of Amethyst or something in a stacks list. But and not
Yeah.
even now. Like Sphere of Resistance, those feel kind of eh. When you're reducing by one, it's just eh. No offense. Like and you don't want to run Helm of Awakening. This is really good though, and it just plays to Rakdos' strengths. And we
Yeah.
built this list. We had a easy turn 2 win with one game. Sorry, spoiler alert. We built this list. If you want to see our version of the deck, and I highly encourage you to check it out as a blueprint, look at our past live streams. It was good. And I remember being stunned at how good it was. And I suppose I shouldn't have been.
This might be a deck that you want to build in paper as well, just because it has really cool lines. At least
Right.
the version that we went for had really cool lines, and I love the fact that Commune with Lava is a card that's really viable in this deck.
Only because I don't want to just put it there without your participation. I'm going to leave this to a poll. What do you guys think on Rowan? I feel like me and Will are kind of settling on S. I could maybe go A. I'm very curious as to where you guys feel Rowan lands. And I'll leave this up as long as I had Kellen up, I suppose. But yeah, we'll ultimately go with what you guys in the audience think. But I think that it's up there. It's certainly for this set up there.
I'd say that it's up there in general because this easily like stomps out Ob Nixilis. This is better Vadrik as well, and Vadrik is a very, very playable commander, and people do play Vadrik.
Mhm.
This is just fantastic. This is an S tier commander.
Right. I don't like how squishy she is, but she is easy to play out. I think Menace is a non-bow. Like, no one gives a damn that she's Menace.
Yeah. Oh no,
It's
you're gonna
all
punch me with your 4/2 instead of reducing the cost of all of your spells by 4 for the rest of the turn.
right. Like, if your strategy, because we built a strategy that had, did we do Hoarding Broodlord? Right? We did.
I can't remember if we had Hoarding. Yeah, we did have Hoarding Broodlord in the
Because
end.
if it's in your hand, it's just as easy to cast. It's like you don't need to Entomb Reanimate necessarily with a strategy when you're just burning yourself, you're doing damage to yourself, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hard cast this thing that normally I have to cheat out. And then if it gets countered for whatever reason, you have the reanimate spells to give it the redundancy it needs to go off anyway. So it's good.
Hoarding,
It's good.
Hoarding Broodlord's also just gross because then your Saw in Half only costs 1 black, which you tap Hoarding Broodlord to Saw in Half, and then you get 2 tokens, and you tap a token for sacrifice, and then you tap the other token and use like 1 of the sacrifice mana to cost Peer into the Abyss, and it are
Mhm.
floating like 6 mana,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
you just win.
Yeah, she's good. I am interested to see the list that more people brew, but ours came out pretty darn good.
I will
Ruby.
say we can
Oh,
probably already close the poll on Rowan because it is not even looking close. It is
I'll,
86 to
I'll
14.
even, maybe more people jump in, have a different
Okay.
opinion, different voice. Ruby, Daring Tracker for Gruul. 1/2 legendary creature, human scout, uncommon. Haste. Whenever Ruby, Daring Tracker attacks, you control a creature. While you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Ruby gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
So it's a
Interesting.
dork that hits hard.
Right,
D,
she's not
D,
vigilance though, so it's like one or the other. So I guess
D for daring tracker.
yeah, I think the concept is you play out the bigger creature, and then next turn you attack. Yeah, okay. So the CZ, obviously this is a D. She's kind of cool
Yeah.
though. I mean,
I'll say that the fact that this is a hasty dork is relevant for a lot of different decks, and
yeah,
that is what's it called? There's the one that makes mana of any color, but you can only use it for creature
creature. It's the
spells.
green one. It's a green,
Yeah.
but it's a generic and a green.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think that
better.
Ruby could replace that in certain lists because I know that there's some lists that want a hasty dork. So I think this could be played in the 99 in very specific scenarios.
Right.
It's not a commander though.
No, 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 no. Also, just getting a bigger beater out of her is really cool. I like it. I think she's really cool. Yeah, a D in the CZ, but as a body, the fact that, like you were saying, it's not restricted on what you could cast with it is pretty hype. Like, you don't see that many 2 CMC dorks because there are so many good 1 CMC ones, so it's
Yeah.
still not great, but I think at certain lists it's going to be okay. It's going to go in the D slot, though. Okay. Shall I? No. Shirai? Yes. Of Numbing Depths. Am I wrong? Yeah, she's new.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the next one. Yeah.
Legendary creature, Merfolk, Wizard, 2/3 body at the uncommon slot. When Shirai of Numbing Depths enters the battlefield, tap. Hey, there you go. Tap target creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Stun is interesting. They get to remove that on their upkeep, I believe, instead of.
Whenever the permanent would be untapped, you remove a
Correct.
stun counter instead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm thinking of it practically. During your untap step is when it's going to occur. But I guess if they had a way to untap it, they could just proc it then. At any rate, whenever you tap one or more untapped creatures your opponents control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn.
That's not bad though, because you can do it on each opponent's turn. The fact that this ETB taps and draws you a card and puts a stun counter on something is pretty nice, but I put it in the exact same category as the other Azorius one for the exact same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
With this, you don't have to pay a cost or anything like that, and you don't get the utility of all the other fancy things. But the fact that it's just tap something, draw a card, tap something, draw a card, tap something, draw a card is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Rowan plus expert. Hey, Sean. Hey, Andrea. And Mike says D. 99 in Ragadraga for the hasty creature. Oh, it's a cool idea, actually. Well, wait up. 99 in Ragadraga. She gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Is there something you can do here with Ragadraga? Like, can you untap her, keep attacking with her? Could she be one of the creatures in Ragadraga?
It would just be a big dork in Ragadraga that gets a little bit bigger, so it's just a good beater in Ragadraga, in addition to the fact that it's a hasty dork for all of your colors.
Shirai. Abdo says not enough mommy energy from Shirai.
For
I
much
would.
fish energy.
I put her at big fish energy though. Yeah, I put Shirai in the D territory.
Yeah, I'd say C just because it's on the exact same level as the other one in my opinion, due to the fact that you just don't have to pay anything for it and it automatically taps something. Also, I love stun counters. I want more stun counter things. I wish they'd errata all the old tap things to have stun counters.
I'm gonna put her in C because it's not like she's unplayable.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see this as a commander. If you have
Yeah.
the is it guy in there, you have this in there.
Yeah. That I looked at the board and I'm like, nah, we can change this up.
Yeah.
Sir Armont, the Redeemer, for 3 generic and Celestia, 4/4 legendary creature, human knight at uncommon. When Sir Armont the Redeemer enters the battlefield, create a monster roll token attached to another target creature you control. We know this is +1/+1 and trample. And if you control another roll on it, you have to put that into the graveyard. Okay, so there's only one roll at a time. Enchanted creatures you control get +1/+1. Yeah, not as good as Shirai.
Yeah, this is just a an anthem and a bit of a buff. I think this could Yeah, no, I was gonna say this could be fun casual commander, but there are still just better enchanter commanders that people would play for casual.
Hmm.
I'd say this is probably a D.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you. Unless someone can convince me otherwise. D must ETB. Yeah. The fact that it's restricted to that and not on the attack, because we literally just illustrated, another legendary from the same set, Ariette, Elivir. She's 4 CMC, 4/4 body, ETB and attack. Just worlds better and draws.
We also have Dwayne, which is just strictly better when any creature you control enters, get a roll token, one of them being a monster roll token, which is literally what this commander does.
All right, so Wizard says, "Let's go." Sir Ginger is next. Before I get to that though, Hana Himana says, "I love Ruby for my Karlok Hardy Outlander deck. Being a dork that scales with the extra combats is all that deck wants." That's actually sick. Oh, cool. So new utility, exactly like you were saying, Will. New utility for specific deck. But Sir Ginger, the meal ender. It's funny because this was in the preview video, if you guys remember, from the first Eldraine set, Throne of Eldraine, when Garuk ate her love.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a little flavor text here with the first effect you'll notice, but Sir Ginger never showed up in the actual concept for that set. I think the preview video was maybe done prior to any knowledge of what was going to be in the set. So it's amazing that she made it into the game. However,
I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Such a great flavor win. It's such a fun nod to the original trailer. It's so good.
Yeah, and obviously fans wanted her, so we finally have her. So 2 generic, 3/1, legendary artifact creature food knight at rare. Stabbing that grape. Sir Ginger, the meal ender, has trample, hexproof, and haste as long as an opponent controls a planeswalker. There's the flavor for you. Whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Sir Ginger and scry 1. You could pay 2, tap, sacrifice Sir Ginger, you gain life equal to its power. So its power is equal to the common food health gain value. It could be more. Could be more. All right, where are you here?
I'd say that this is C, because you can do artifact storm stuff with this, or not artifact storm, but you can do some cool artifact sacrifice stuff with this, or +1/+1 counter stuff with this. So there's some cool things you can do casual. I think it's a C.
So let's see here. Sir Ginger must have gotten knighted due to its obvious heroics against the Phyrexians. Oil can't harm food, I guess. Nah. It only enhances it. Crunchy tier. C for crunchy tier. Sir Ginger is easy S tier. Flavor win for the food general. Yeah. Gilded sack fodder. I'm gonna say C for ginger cookie. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Sir Ginger there. It's a wonderful enabler for eggs. I like eggs. Moving on. We actually brewed Talion the Kindly Lord, if I'm not mistaken.
That got brewed like immediately by literally everybody. This is also probably an S tier.
We'll see about that. It's a wonderful enabler for eggs. Let's easily do a B combo and becomes a big body in the process. Sir Ginger. Yeah.
And also try to find other things for eggs to try to combo off a little bit better. Gingers are very cool. Obviously not anything for competitive, but very, very interesting for casual, because you are probably killing someone on like turn 4.
Yeah, it's so cool. I want to see Sir Ginger. I want to see Sir Ginger played. I want to see Sir Ginger brewed and played. Do it, audience. Talion, the Kindly Lord. For 2 generic and Demir, 3/4 legendary creature, fairy, noble. Flying, as Talion the Kindly Lord enters the battlefield, choose a number between 1 and 10. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with a mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. I believe the Command Zone did a video on apparently the statistical best number to choose. I did not watch it. We were guessing 2, I think. So if there's an answer out there that's more definitive, please let us know. I'd be interested to know what the best number is. I didn't watch that video. What I'm asking is if you did, tell me.
I did not watch the video either. I know that 1 or 2 is the best number most of the time. It depends on like meta playgroup, all that kind of stuff. But one
Hmm.
hits most pieces of interaction and most creatures because most creatures in cEDH either cost one or are 1/1s to some extent. And
Hmm.
then it will almost always hit something off of one, and then off of two, everything else in cEDH is two, with
Right.
very minor exceptions.
Right. Even some of the commanders. I mentioned Timnell already. Oswald, obviously.
Yeah,
This is hitting on a lot of different levels. I think if you're worried about someone's storm term, maybe one is better.
also,
Okay.
I want to say the fact that it's Talion, the kindly lord, who keeps slapping people in the face. It feels like it's a rod of spanking type of effect.
Hmm.
Do you
Hmm.
know? Do you know that uncard? If you look that
No.
up, it look
Oh,
that up very quickly.
rod of spanking. I like the sound of it though. Rod of spanking. Oh yeah.
Just read it off. You'll get a kick out of it.
Uh, pay to tap. Rod of spanking deals 1 damage to target player. Then untap rod of spanking unless that player says, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
Talion, the
Yes.
kind lord. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Minutes before the campus watch busted pledge week at the Alpha Beta Unlimited house.
So dumb.
Oh man, wait, can we get this kind of flavor? I don't. This isn't really PC now, but that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay. Well, at any rate, Talion.
I'd say S tier.
I
He's basically
I
Ristic Study in the command zone, and
I
Ristic
think
Study
they
is very playable.
I think they confirmed that those long legs belong to a female.
Oh,
But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the gender of this creature. So I don't know. Someone was arguing in the comments of one of my videos about this. It doesn't. Talion. Talion's S. You're saying?
yeah, Talion's S. It's a fantastic draw commander and usually draws more than Blue Farm does, and that's Blue Farm's whole thing. Like, you're losing white and red, but you really only care about black and blue in most cEDH decks. Also, it's a
Um.
Tymna blocker. It's a very good Tymna blocker.
Oh, Espresso says something interesting. Well, pick two, then Chalice for one, says Abzo. Sure. Espresso says it's notable the command zone isn't cEDH, so their pool of highly played cards is different than the average cEDH table might see. That is true. I don't know what context they were using, but I suppose they would have been using a more casual centric number. So I'd be curious. It could be 10. Who knows? I think it's also notable one drops can be cast in higher amounts than two drops just by being cheaper. So one could potentially net you more. Yeah, I need the cEDH version of this list. The jank
It's
thing you can do. Oh, sorry.
it's also notable for people who weren't paying attention. This does not say equal to CMC. This is equal to CMC, power, or toughness. So it hits Dockside if you name one. It hits Thoracle if you name one. It hits so many things outside of what you're normally thinking if you name one. So
Yeah.
one is probably the best pick in cEDH. Two is the best anti-combo pick in cEDH because most combos that revolve around playing things over and over and over again usually revolve around playing a two drop over and over and over again, like
Mhm.
Dockside.
The jank thing you can do in casual with this card is clone tribal with Sakashima in the 99. That's kind of cool, actually.
The cEDH thing you can do with this card is play Vesuvian Diplomacy and then get 20 copies of this card.
That's not bad.
Except
Deep
for those,
Sea Octopus says
uh,
Talion is a they them according to Wizards. Okay, thank you,
okay.
thank you. Yeah, it's always tough to tell gender on these fictional cards. If I ever get it wrong, please don't blame me because I do try to look these things up. Pupstomp MTG says if you look into the story, Talion is referred to as they them. Thank you, Pupstomp. I did not. They used to when you bought like fat packs before would give you like story scripts like that just came in the fat pack that reference the set. I don't know if they do that anymore. I haven't received like a maybe the starter kits do. But that would be nice because I do want to know more of the lore. I know they released a series of videos though on this, or at least a video on this minimally. Talion, I'll say yes.
Yeah. And also props to anyone who does want to do Vesuvian Diplomacy with Talion to just get a bunch of removal, then have 10 pieces of removal targeting your Talion, and then you make 10 non-legendary Talions, each naming 1 and 2 a various amount of times. enjoy doing that because I have a friend who is brewing the exact same idea, but with Eureka instead of Talion. Because if you have 5 Eurekas and each of them make contact, that's 25 Eureka triggers.
Let me know if it works. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts on Talion. I feel like it slots easily into the S range, but we could be dead wrong. Could be dead wrong. Tegwill. This is the face commander that Will might be playing. Duke of Splendor and Pub Stomp, you're in the audience. We'll be playing with Pub Stomp MTG come September. So get hyped for that. Heart in the chat. Oh, 100. Woo woo woo. But yeah.
Deadlifted, good light, something something.
Yeah, so get excited for that. That's going to be fun FNM night for us. And I'm excited to play a precon because I haven't played a precon ever. I jumped back into this game and I started building my own commander decks from scratch like immediately. So I'm interested to see like the kind of balance WotC bakes into these precon decks. I've never tried one. I don't know how hard I should mulligan, I guess is what I'm saying. So we've got a generic and a Dimir, 2/3 legendary creature fairy noble at the mythic rare slot. That's right, it's gonna be so hard to pull. Flying, death touch. Other fairies you control get +1/+1. Most importantly, whenever another fairy you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life.
There are a good number of cards that make fairies, not only in this set, but in other sets. You named one off of Bitter Blossom as a one option.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can draw a good amount of cards off of this commander. Like, I'm not sure if this commander hits the B tier, but this is definitely a commander that you can build in C at the very least.
Yeah, Fairy Tribal. How hard does Fairy Tribal go? I don't really know. There are going to be tokens that are dying, right? I mean, unless you're using like what Glen or Lendra. What are the best fairies you can name that are maybe going to see their way in this list?
I don't know because I don't know a ton of fairies off the top of my head, but I know that there are some combos that let you have fairies infinitely die, like Glenelendra, because you can do persist shenanigans with that to have it entering with a +1/+1 counter in addition to the -1/-1. Then they cancel out and you resack it. So there's combo potential with this commander. This commander also just draws you a good amount of cards. It's also a flying death touch 2/3 that makes your board a tiny bit bigger. So it is at minimum a C. It might be considered a B, but I think it's more comfortably a C.
C for Changeling.
Y-
I don't know. Next,
for creature tribal. I don't know.
Maskwood Nexus.
Yeah, you can do Maskwood Nexus stuff to do some weird things. I don't think you need Maskwood Nexus though.
No, I'm trying to see if there's more here. Audience, let me know. Is there a combo for Tegwill that someone's come up with on Reddit?
I mean, there's
Twitter
infinite triggers.
Okay, it's fine. You still say even with that in mind, you would say it's a C.
It could be a B, but it's just like it does very very weird combos if it wants to do combos. I think it could be a B. If you think it's a B, then I'm willing to agree with B. It's on the lower side of B for me, if anything.
New poll, babies.
Yeah, that works.
Tegwill. Is it a B or is it a C? All right, and I let you decide. Oh, this is interesting. Deep Sea Octopus says the other legendary fairy from the main set, the Sleeping Duelist Blue-Black Legend, is Talion's Child. Cool. Bitter Blossom combo? Maybe. Pupsum says, I just got in here, but Bernard does a janky combo with Ashnod's Altar and Eternal Scorch to make infinite colorless mana and Eternal Scorch food. So in all the life is what you're saying. That's some flavorful jank, I gotta say. Fairy Slumber Party from this set gives fairies a great finisher. Fairy Slumber Party. I'm going to look that up just because I'm personally curious, but then we'll continue in a second. Fairy Slumber Party.
Return all creatures to their owner's hands. For each opponent who controlled a creature returned this way, you create 2/1/1 fairy creature tokens with flying, and this creature can block only flying creatures. So it's like 6 mana, bounce all non or all creatures, and then make 6 fairies. That's not terrible.
Wish
It's
it was instant. I wish it was convocable. I wish a few things. But yeah. It's cool.
yeah.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it in tandem with Tegwill. Tegwill. It's such a
There's
weird.
there's also some weird shenanigans that you can do to probably make a ton of extra fairies on top of things like what is it? Something the wave. Arami the Dead Tide can probably do
Oh
some
yeah,
weird
yeah,
fairy
yeah.
stuff.
That's actually a cool idea. I like Arami a lot. You don't really see Arami played. Okay, so we've got the Goose Mother for X and Simic. Legendary creature, bird, Hydra at the rare slot. Good luck pulling the bird. 2/2, flying. The Goose Mother enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Giving Walking Ballista a run for its money, I see. When the Goose Mother enters the battlefield, create half X food tokens rounded up. So if you have one, you get one. Whenever the Goose Mother attacks, you may sacrifice a food. If you do, draw a card.
So
Okay.
this is a C, but this is a very good C just because it's a big X cost in the command zone that isn't a base 0/0. It is a base 2. And
Mhm.
then it makes a bunch of food tokens, which you can do for a bunch of things. So you can build around food if you want, or you can build around make a lot of mana for a big creature. And then you can draw some extra cards off of sacrificing the food. This is just a very fun punchy commander.
You
Like,
say you sack Search Ender to draw. Yeah, you could.
yeah,
What
that
were you,
does work.
what were you gonna say? I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that was primarily it. It's just this card does like a little bit of everything, and I think it's a fun C just because, yeah, it can be a beater, it can be a draw engine, it can be an artifact commander. There's a ton of things you can do here.
Do you wish it said you may sacrifice an artifact?
For the draw, that would have been cool, and that would have let you do some more things. But since it makes the food, I think it's fine.
I think it still would have been fair
Yeah,
if it just said artifact, but yeah, Goose Mother's a C for fun C. I'm so curious to see what happens when we reach the end of our tier here. Does it just expand it down or does it just explode?
it expands down.
Okay, I was
I
hoping
tested it.
Okay.
I want to see what it does.
Totentans, Swarm Piper. Totentans, I'm going to say that as much as I can, is generic and Rakdos, 2/3 body, legendary creature, human warlock bard at the uncommon slot. Get ready to pull a few Totentans. Whenever Totentans, Swarm Piper, or another non-token creature not named Totentans you control dies, create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block even if Totentans is on the battlefield. For a generic and black target rat, attacking rat, I should say, you control gains death touch until the end of turn.
So first off, I'd like to pitch the idea of we can refer to him as Toady if we really want.
Totes.
Um,
Totes.
so I'm gonna give a controversial take on this card. I'm gonna say A. And the only reason why is this card actually combos off really well and does something that we've had on a bunch of non-legendary cards but haven't had on a legendary card, and that is when a creature you control dies, make a token and it's a reusable effect. And it's like not limited to just a certain creature type because we've had this for specifically zombies. We've had this for specifically legendaries, but we haven't had this for just generically all creatures. When a creature dies, make a token.
Mm.
And that means that you can do a ton of Phyrexian Altar stuff, a ton of Ashnod's Altar stuff, a ton of Skull Clamp stuff. This commander lets you grind a bunch of value, and he alone has like 8 different combos that you can do. So he's consistent in the fact that he just has a bunch of versatility that you can use. Aside from the fact that sacking stuff is just good value a lot of the time, so doubling up sacks it's just good.
If only he Totentans were a human warlock bard zombie. Then
Yeah,
the Gravecrawler loop would just be there. But
I know.
I know. Well, I mean, you know, you can't ask for all the subtypes, can you? Changeling. C for Changeling. I get what you're saying. I've really tried to make reanimate strategy is like a more consistent thing. It's tough. Unless you're going for Razaketh or I suppose Hoarding Broodlord now. I like Totes. I think that Totes is maybe a B though. I understand. I get what you're saying though. Better than Rowan.
Not better than Rowan.
That's
Rowan
tough.
is S.
That's
Yeah,
tough.
Rowan is a hard S. This is just like a low A in my opinion, but I still think it's an A.
Totes best Totes combo. Go.
Oh, just for me in general?
No, you audience. Best Totes combo. Give me your best Totes. Convince me that this is an A.
Anything that says pay mana to revive this reassembling skeleton or like the 6 other alternatives and Phyrexian Altar, that's infinite death triggers and in some cases infinite mana as well. And then any outlet wins you the game off of that. In addition, you can do the Gravecrawler line like you said, and you can also just storm off doing Yawgmoth stuff with this, and then you have red in your color pie as well.
What is reassembling skeleton? What is the cost to bring them back?
1 and a black.
So that's just death triggers then. Unless you
it's a Blood Artist loop.
Right. Unless you have the Embalmer's tools that make the cost of the activated ability 1 less.
Yeah, there's versions of Reassembling Skeleton that say when this dies, you can pay a black to reanimate it, and then you can reanimate that instead, and that'll give you infinite mana, infinite rats, and...
How many... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Just infinite mana, infinite rats. It's a better version of Reassembling.
How many cards do those lines take? Minimally, and then max, I guess.
It would be like your commander and like 2 to 3 other cards, depending on how you do it. But you can grind out enough cards to get there and not really care. Because I think also just tutoring for Yawgmoth with this commander is fine, and then you can do all the Yawgmoth piles, and you just need 1 persist creature, and that's undying creature, and that's it. Because Toady, undying creature, and Yawgmoth is an infinite combo.
Would he be good in Corvold? Maybe.
Probably not. Just because you're not running random token generators in Corvold. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think he's better as a commander.
I play Corvold Rats. Ratvold. Carnival of Souls turns your other sack outlets into mana altars if you can, race the life. Yeah, I like Carnival of Souls here too. I get that. Because Carnival of Souls, whenever a creature ETBs, so your token rats, and then you get to lose a life and make a black. It's not a may, you have to, so you can kill yourself doing this. All right, well, the audience clearly doesn't have any good combos in mind because they're not giving me any, so I'm gonna...
The Carnival of Souls one was just a nice add-on that works very well because you sacrifice a creature and get a black mana because a rat entered.
I said good combos, Will. I'm just kidding. No. I love Carnival of Souls as much as I love Davil. So I'm with you. I think it's a great option. A great choice. Totentans. Where would you put him? You put him in the A or you put him in the B? Where are you gonna put it? The B or the A? If you want to get nasty, I mean ass or butt. Okay. Troyan, Gutsy Explorer, for a generic and a simic 1/3 body legendary creature, Vidalkin Scout. Ooh, Vidalkins in Eldraine? Is that a thing?
Apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
I guess it's because we have the portals that also opened up, so every plane can visit every plane.
Every plane can visit every plane. There you go. That's cool. Uncommon. So is this going to beat our Simic Boy Wonder? The infant. Yeah, whatever his name is, I forget. People still like playing. Mother? No, not Goose Mother. The boy. The boy who makes Basalt Monoliths grow.
Cannon Ponder Prodigy.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Nothing is beating Cannon.
So we tap to add Simic. Spend this mana only to cast spells with mana value 5 or greater, so not ad nauseum. Or spells with X in their cost. Well, I mean, I guess you could have this in the 99, but we're not suggesting
this
that.
This lets you cast Adnos. It does.
Right, well, I mean... But not in this deck. Like, not in... Yeah. But pay a blue, tap, draw a card, then discard a card.
This is not good. Just putting it out there. It's a dork that can tap for 2 mana, which is very interesting, but that's eh. And then the loot effect is very subpar. If it had like just legitimately tap to draw a discard, that would probably make it a little bit better, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't even have that. Also, like
No.
if they got rid of the blue cost for the loot and they got rid of the entire condition for the rest of it, I still don't think this sees a ton of play. It would see more play because you can do freed from the real infinite combos with that, but it still would not see play.
Yeah, such a waste of Jesper's art. I love the golden egg he's stealing, by the way. Everything about this card is sick, but yeah. Yeah, it's a D. Someone
Yeah.
says F for Simic. Kinnan, thank you. Kinnan, Bonder, Prodigy. I appreciate it, gang. I needed the help. All right, so we're moving on to... Wow, are we missing legendaries?
No?
Oh, Toad and Tans. We need to put Toad and Tans out there. Toad and Tans is ending in 3, 2. You're going to put it in the ass or the butt, people. 1. I don't know
Everyone went
why.
for B.
Everyone went for the B. 69%. Okay. Moving on. Ignore me. It's just one of those
Patrick
mornings.
hacked into YouTube just to remove that 1%.
I was up till 4 last night. Give me a break, okay?
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me. But Toad and Tans,
You were up until 4 last night. I think you just very well established that.
we have I had a great time. I was playing Remnant 2. I mentioned Remnant in the live stream gameplay that you should check out with Play to Win. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, tip
That
tip
bell.
your
Hit
tip
that bell for
your
notifications.
hit that bell for notifications. What else? Tip. There's no merch messaging. There's super chat. Okay. all of those. But
We're
like this.
professionals.
Yes, like this video if you haven't liked it yet. Really, really, I'm holding you hostage to that because it really does help these videos out. Please. Will, Scion of Peace. For a generic and Osorius, do you like how just that was the shittiest way of promoting this channel, but I hope you appreciate it. I don't know, I put a lot of effort into those. For a generic and Azorius, 2/4 body, legendary creature, human wizard, the better version of Rowan. Vigilance. That's all I gotta say. Vigilance.
You get to punch and you get to use the tap effect.
Yeah, for 2. But, you know, you get to do it. Tap. Spells you cast this turn are... Ooh, unless you use Sting, which I illustrated the other day. Also on the live stream. Like, share, subscribe, bell notifier. Spells you cast this turn that are white and or blue cost X less to cast, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. Gain, specifically. Activate only as a sorcery. So obviously red has it much easier. Will has it in the A or the B, let's just say.
Will is going to be a B in my opinion, only
Okay.
because you don't have a lot of great life gain effects that you'd want to play. You have like Sarah Ascendant, you have Heliod's Intervention, and then you have like a bunch of random weird things that just gain like 2 to 3 life to use cards in a slightly less beneficial way. I tried brewing Will. I think that a couple life linkers is kind of the best way to go, but even then, Will is not fantastic. I think Will could do some things, but Will is more of a B than anything else.
Are there not any like Bizarro World inverted fetch lands that like gain you life and you give your opponent a land?
Nah. Um, it's Sarah Ascendant is probably your best bet on doing that, which you can find in white very easily. But
There
yeah,
are lands that give you life on
yeah,
ETB, but like that's not.
they're bad. Whereas with Rowan, you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm happy to take that shock land.
Yeah, this is so weird. You say, what do you say this false?
Probably B because he is definitely better than casual because in he can easily storm off if he gets to like gain 4 life in a turn or 3 life in a turn
Mm-hmm.
because you can do a bunch of shenanigans where you keep untapping him and then you can play big X cost draw spells to go through your deck or untap all your permanents because what's it called? There's an X-Man untap spell. Uh, in
Oh,
blue.
Ether Flux is nice, says Fuko Master.
Yeah,
Ether Flux is nice. That's probably the core card here. Actually, yeah, you said it. Ether Flux makes a lot of sense. I don't know how hard you're storming into the Ether Flux, but I mean, just a little bit of life gain from there. I think the Fishbowl is going to attract too much attention though if you're not winning with it on the spot necessarily. So
yeah.
I guess Grand Abolisher first. I don't know.
That's why I go for untappers as well, because if you do untappers, you're gaining enough life already. Like, if you just gain a tiny bit of life, that becomes like a 20 cost reduction very quickly.
Hmm.
Also, Reality Spasm. That's the card I'm thinking of. X and a blue
Reality
blue for
Spasm.
yeah, X
Sorry.
blue blue for an instant. Choose one. Tap X target permanents, or untap X target permanents. With this, you can untap all of your lands and Will Kenrith for 2 blue. And then you tap Will Kenrith and all of your lands and all of your rocks and everything, and then you keep going. So if you use anything that recurs spells from your graveyard, then you can just keep getting back Reality Spasm and X cost draw effects and then go through your deck very quickly in one turn. And Reality Spasm is super easy to find because it's an instant. You're in blue. It's 2 mana, so muddle the mixture.
Yeah, yeah. William says you don't need to untap him. Why are you suggesting the untap?
I suggest the untap because you can stack the cost reduction. Because if you tap Will and everything gets reduced by 4, you can untap Will, then tap Will again, and everything's reduced by 8 now. Then you can untap Will and tap him again, and everything's reduced by 12 now. So if you keep tapping and untapping him, you just need a tiny bit of life gain to make everything cost negative 100.
Right, but you're namely saying this for like X spells, like
Yeah, if you're doing X spells, if you are doing some kind of storm strategy, which sadly Azorius is not too well set up for storm stuff,
no,
but if you can find a good storm deck for Will, then you only need to gain like 3 to 4 life, just like Rowan.
right. I think just a few going into it though, William, for like a Blue Sun Zenith or something that's going to draw you cards, is enough.
Yeah,
Honestly, and just give you value because, like you're saying, Storm in these colors is not really what Azorius is trying to do. Is Will High Tide in Castle Vantris pilled? I don't know, Jeff. I don't know if you're gonna go High Tide Will though. Am I wrong? Like,
uh, not very, just because High Tide more so requires that you can keep recasting High Tide or untap a ton of lands, and where you will be untapping some lands in Will, if you go for the list that I'm recommending, it's still not really worth it to run High Tide. Because also, it's not like you're going to have a ton of islands in play. You're probably doing all the color fixing lands.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw Will into the B range.
Yeah,
Seems
I
fair.
think that's fair. That's fair.
Like he's not bad. The effect is good. It's a build around playable, high powered deck, maybe at most.
Yeah, I ran a Minamo in my Will deck, the random Will brew I have.
Will with Manamo. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sparks. Well, maybe we can share the list later. Remind me. Or we'll brew it. I don't know. You'll never see it again. We'll never hear of Will again. Yenna, Red Tooth Regent. Someone's dabbing on Yenna. Yenna, the Red Tooth Regent, is 2 generic Selesnya, 4/4 legendary creature, Elf Noble, Nobel, rare, 2 and a tap. Choose target enchantment you control that doesn't have the same name as another permanent you control. Okay, that should be easy. And Commander, create a token that's a copy of it. Except it isn't a legendary. If the token is an aura, untap Yenna, Red Tooth Regent, then Scry 2. Activate only as a sorcery. My people are both Bloom and Thorn.
This is a very interesting commander because this does everything I was talking about from the one Selesnya desparked commander from Aftermath. I can never remember his name,
Mm.
but it does kind of everything that you'd want from that as well, but it does it in a slightly stormier way. So,
Just a tad stormier. Okay.
so it's what's his name? Calyx. So it does what Calyx
Oh,
does, but a little bit better.
Yenna
Because
creates a good bubble with privileged
yeah,
position. Sorry. I'm with you.
Where Calyx does let you do infinite enchantment ETBs to make your board infinity infinities, uh, Yena is just, or Yena, dude, sorry, Yena lets you just kind of make a copy of all of your auras very quickly and very immediately, and then just start making copies of random enchantments that you have. I will say, not being able to get more than one of each enchantment feels kind of sad, but being able to get copies of your legendary enchantments is pretty cool. Uh, probably, probably a C still, but it's cool.
Yeah, untapping her is kind of neat. Is there some utility there? Like, what can you have on her? Are there any are there any auras that just have coincidental value here? Like, whenever this creature untaps, kill your opponent. I don't know. Like, is there anything that just exists that just helps with that? Because I'm looking at the untap value beyond just being able to do the thing twice, which is cool.
Yeah, my issue is even if you can do the untap value more than once, you'll still hit a brick wall because you can't duplicate a thing you've already duplicated. So
Right.
it'll stop at some point.
So you'll Kenrith's transformation the one other time, draw the one other card, and then
Stop there unless you can sacrifice one of the Kenrith's transformations with like a Claws of Gix or something like that.
right. That's just weird, though. You're not gonna take value away from your board just to keep cantripping.
Yeah.
Let's
I don't
see
know,
here.
maybe you do a Staff of Defiance or whatever that thing is called. V
Yeah,
Phyrexian.
yeah.
Just keep
Uh,
blowing up your permanents.
Despotic Scepter, my favorite card. It feels like it should be an uncard, honestly. Now
Well,
you
no, I'm
need.
talking about the Phyrexian one as well, the pay life to do things, because that has a pay one life,
Oh,
tap it, destroy permanent you own.
Staff of the Completed or whatever. Completion
Yeah,
Staff. Yeah, there's some good art for that one. I like that one. Now you need 2 removal spells for the stacks piece. So, yes, that's true, Randolph. Yena
that's.
creates a good bubble with privileged position. What was that?
I wish this was an instant so bad now, because if someone said I blow up your rule of law, you can say in response I make a rule of law, and then you can keep doing that infinitely because you lost one of the two rule of laws.
But
That
nope.
would have been so cool and so infuriating to deal with, and I would have loved that.
Yeah, except they neutered Calyx and they kind of did the same thing with Yena here. The fact that it's only sorcery speed really puts a damper on things, really does.
Yeah.
Um, okay, pretty art says Demigod Spartan. I agree. I
Yeah,
definitely
I like
agree.
the art.
A Espresso says Calyx copying enchantments has been powerful, and this can do it more than just once a turn. Right, for 2 generic, and she is 1 more generic more than Calyx, but she is a 4/4, so you can keep her around just as a blocker, or if you want to double down, you can. That is to say, if it isn't an aura that's copied. Okay, Jahira for mana enchantment. Jahira. This is the second time Jahira was mentioned. I'm sorry. I don't know if I know Jahira. Abso. Kind of Jahira. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's okay. Whatever you say. We'll go with whatever you say. Kenner's transformation type auras. Yes. Sorry.
I will say a potential funny thing that you can do is mana multiplier enchantments. That's probably something fun you can do with this commander, just to keep making more and more mana multipliers, and then you combo off from there. I still think it is a worse Calyx, because
Hmm.
Calyx is like an infinite mana or an infinite ETB enchantment outlet on top of the fact that he grinds you outlets just for free by attacking. Whereas this is also not bad, but also not great.
Mm-hmm. Can put in Sithis the Harvest Hand, probably. Probably drop to a B. I didn't notice you couldn't copy the same multiple times at first. I'm still in the C range. Let me just run this poll.
Yeah.
We can leave it to you guys. If you want Yena at B, we can. I don't know if I personally feel like she's there, but I'll let you guys decide. That's the
The
fun of
fact that
these.
you can only hit everything once, so you can only have two of everything, feels bad. Whereas with Calyx, you can have like five of one thing, which
Mm-hmm,
can flip the game for you.
mm-hmm,
Like you
mm-hmm.
can have like five Nyx Bloom Ancients with Calyx, but then you can only have two Nyx Bloom Ancients over here.
You're weighing this on a Nyx Bloom Ancient scale. You're
Yeah, I
like,
mean, you're in green. You can cheat out an Bloom Ancient.
that's true. That's true. Okay, so while we close this out, I'm just going to ask, what is everyone's favorite card from Wilds of Eldraine? We're not going to be tearing up, I don't think, the rest of the set. We just wanted to stick to the Legendaries because that's what you all would care about, I assume. But what are your favorite cards from the set? Let us know. I'd love to look at them. My favorite's been Agatha's Cauldron. I
Yeah,
can say
my
that much.
favorite is a Werefox Bodyguard because that card is surprisingly great.
Well, we can look at it. We'll look at it right after this. Ooh, get your copy now. $34 for the one that's longer.
For the Agatha's Cauldron.
Yeah. I like this card a lot. I'd love to know your thoughts, gang, but I'd love to hear your favorite cards from the set, and we can check them out as we close this video out. Again, we're only going to tier the legends today, and then, of course, I'm going to save our legendary tier list after we're done, and we can look at the whole thing in just a second, and save it on the community post tab, where it will live in perpetuity for the rest of its days, so that you can go back and look at the day we tiered Wilds of Eldraine. I like doing these tier lists. It does really help my mind work through what makes a card good, honestly. But I also love doing it with you guys because it's just fun doing these community-based videos with you all, and these have been really successful. If you enjoyed the tier list, let us know. We obviously want to continue doing them if you do. But Agatha's like, share, subscribe, tip, super chat, and bell notification. Agatha's Soul Cauldron for 2 generic legendary artifacts. I'm contemplating this in Oswald. I can't say that there's a slot for it yet, but you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. That's cool. We have something in the command zone that this cares about. Otherwise, I don't think that matters unless we do the abilities at the bottom. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. You can tap this as soon as it comes in, exile target creature from a graveyard. So, someone entombs Razaketh. They don't realize I can do Oswald Lightning Greaves. Exile target card from a graveyard. When a creature card is exiled this way, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So, what you could do is Oswald Agatha's Cauldron out, exile the Razaketh or any reanimate target with activated ability. The Razaketh's the best one, and just get that ability.
Yep,
That's
Oswald
pretty.
becomes a Razaketh.
That's pretty gnarly. That's pretty gnarly. I mean, honestly, in worst case scenario, what, it's like a Deathrite Shaman or a Dork. Like the sometimes I could just use ramp too. That's fine. When the one ring is out, honestly, I could just use ramp.
Yeah, it's also great because it turns all of your creatures into dorks over time because you can exile a Birds of Paradise, then exile a frickin' Memnite, and then give another thing a +1/+1 counter, and both of them are birds. So it's good.
Both of them are birds. Wait, what was your favorite card from the set?
My favorite card was Werefox Bodyguard.
Werefox Bodyguard. Agatha's Soul Cauldron is like a utility. I think it's really interesting for sure.
Yeah, the fact that it's like a pseudo reanimate as well is so good because you can entomb your own Razaketh, then exile with Agatha's Cauldron to make all of your or make some of your creatures into Razakeths. So you basically tapped Agatha's Cauldron to reanimate the only necessary part of Razaketh.
Any +1/+1 manipulation deck will enjoy this, actually. Now that I think about it, like darn it, the Nyan one that I used to play, Marath, Will of the Wilds. It just by virtue of the fact that, like you're saying, Will, it is a pseudo reanimate in decks that don't have reanimate necessarily. So if your core cards are relying on +1/+1 counter manipulation and activated abilities, which is all Marath is doing, this is a really good way to get that recursion. This is really cool in that sense. I mean, I'm really just looking at it as a potential utility in Oswald, but there are more applications here for sure. Like it's actually quite good. And then Werefox Bodyguard for generic and double white. Creature Elf Fox Knight 2/2 body flash. When Werefox Bodyguard enters the battlefield, exile up to one other target non-fox creature until Werefox Bodyguard leaves the battlefield. So it's like a Palace Jailer kind of effect.
Yeah.
Pay a white and a generic. Sacrifice Werefox Bodyguard, you gain 2 life.
So I like this just because it's a Fiend Hunter style effect for it's a Fiend Hunter style effect with Flash, which we really haven't had any of those. and the fact that it lets you hit your own stuff, so it's good for the whole Abdel combo thing, and
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you can sacrifice this to return the card at any point is actually really good, because there's a lot of times when you want to hit your opponent's Drannith Magistrate, then return the Drannith Magistrate immediately, and this lets you do that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the card.
I agree with that. Do we want to do a live stream set review? I don't know if that's something we were planning on doing, but
We can do that at some point. There's only like one other card that really caught my intrigue from this set, and it's one of the Commander's cards or Commander deck cards.
oh, so you're saying it would be a very short stream?
Yeah, like it's
We
there's other cards that have got my attention to the point where I think I could bring them up, but it's mainly like Werefox Bodyguard, Agatha's Cauldron, and then Life
Mosswood
or
Dread Knight.
Loam Crafter Fawn is the other one that I was thinking of as my
Oh,
favorite one, because that card is disgusting. That card
Sparks.
is
Oh, oh,
we can
oh no. We could look at that one next. I'm sorry.
yeah,
The Loam
Mossword
Crafter.
Dreadnought is good though.
Well, this is a Spark suggestion, so
Yeah,
it must be good, right? So it's generic and a green, 3/2 body, human knight, dread whispers. You draw a card, you lose 1 life. Sorcery speed. It's fine. Trample. When Dreadwood Knight dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until end of your next turn. Huh. For your no, never mind. Not Totentans. Can't use this in Totentans.
yep. This is Gruul. Not
Um,
allowed. It's forbidden.
but your other suggestion was what was it called again?
Loam Crafter Fawn.
All right. So why is this good?
This card is a potential new staple in Gitrog Monster, aside from the fact that this card is also just kind of ridiculous as recursion in general. So, for those who don't know, 2 and a green for a 3/3 Satyr Druid that says ETB, discard any number of lands you control, and then recur that many non-land cards from your graveyard to your hand. The reason why this is so good, if you are flooded in any way, shape, or form, you can tutor this up and then discard your lands to recur the
Mm,
tutor that you used for this and any of your other good cards from your graveyard, and you should be in a very good position off of that. So it's recursion and very good fixing. If you're in Gitrog, you can discard all of your lands to recur that many cards and draw that many cards. So you're going to be able to fill up your hand in Gitrog very easily. And if you go over hand size, then you can potentially do the whole Gitrog end step
Deckless
shenanigans thing.
salvage. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad setup, honestly, at all. And you're in green. Obviously, it's a creature.
Yeah.
It's sort of making
It,
itself.
it is debatably better Eternal Witness. I say debatably because Eternal Witness is just a straight up 1-for-1, and this will be a 2-for-1. You have to discard a land and get this in play to get something out. But this being able to hit multiple cards can be really useful.
Randolph is suggesting misleading signpost as their favorite,
I love
specifically
that card.
for casual decks at its base of a mana rock with that lets you hold up mana. Yeah, flash, 2 generic and a blue artifact. When misleading signpost enters the battlefield during the declare attacker's step, you may reselect which player or permanents target attacking creature is attacking, and then you can also tap it to add a blue. So it pays for itself. So it's virtually 2 generic. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
funny. I like the card just because you can go no you and then swing it somewhere else. It's very funny.
Yeah, like force a bad attack so that the creature gets killed, right?
Yeah,
That's actually really sick.
it can be pseudo removal, and it can in casual be knock a different player out of the game, because if someone's swinging at you with some massive attacker, you can just say it's going that way. I'm
And
live. He's dead.
for
Cool.
our last card, we have the suggestion experimental confectioner. We'll close out the poll in a second. Tim Rogers says this card, and I don't know why. We'll find out. Oh God, the art again. The rats are eating pies and getting baked in pies, or that's like some sort of gelatin. 2 generic and a black, 2/3 creature human peasant, uncommon. When experimental confectioner enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food token, you create a 1/1 black rat creature token that can't block. Wow, just a new form of rat we're getting.
Well,
It's
this
fine. Hmm?
all of the rats have this can't block from the set. All the rat tokens.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I
Um.
can't wait for the tokens.
This is a kind of interesting card because it's sack a token, make another token. So in decks that care about making food, this can do a good amount of things. Like this will be able to get you extra tokens from your tokens. So yeah, It's an interesting card.
If you want to copy the, I don't know, it was, now that I officially tiered it, it was like, do you want to share this? I'm like, I'm sharing it right now, bub.
You're
Whatever.
sharing it live.
Sharing it
So
live,
casual.
guy. Sharing it live, dude. All right, guys, we did it. We did it. Demi God Spartan gets it. Yeah, that's right, Kratos. That's right. Okay, so here's the tier list. Let me remove our faces so we can look at it. Wow.
And really quick for
Is that something?
Abzo, yeah, the way that you go infinite with Abdel is if you have two effects that are like Werefox, like Fiend Hunter is the best example I always give. You can have Abdel exile one of them, then play a second one that exiles Abdel. Abdel will return the first one, which will exile the second one, which will return Abdel, exiling the first one, returning the second one. Then you repeat that infinitely for infinite ETBs and LTBs, making infinite soldiers off of Abdel, untapping your rocks infinite times, and then getting infinite ETB and LTB triggers. So that's the combo.
Yeah, that's simple. I think this list makes sense. I think these are all placed where they should be, especially Corvold. These are, this all logics to me. Rowan is definitely S tier for the set, and maybe the world. Talion, I want to see Talion played. I want to see it played. I'm curious as to how effective it will actually be. I've got a gut feeling it'll be very effective. And Demir is just a good part of the color pie. Kellen, an A slot. Logics. I am most interested in playing Kellen. I think it's like the flavor of the week, like you were saying. I think that's going to be one of the more interesting brews to see people make. And Elevere, these all seem good. Totentan's, yeah, the B slot is interesting here. I would say these all work in the B slot. The casual category and the don't play these category, all logic as well. I'm going to go ahead again and save a screenshot of this for you guys so you can check it out at your leisure in our community post tab. If you don't venture over there, you should, because we put a lot of stuff over there. But guys, that's it for the legendary tier list for Wilds of Eldraine. Thank you for joining us on this not 4-hour stream, thank goodness. I want Chinese food, and I'm going to order Chinese food, I think, in a second. Going out to play games later tonight, but before that, I need some dumplings. I need some rice. I don't know what you're doing, Will, but that is exactly what I'm so hungry right now.
Yeah, I'm probably going to make lunch as well.
Oh, you're gonna make lunch? Yeah, I just went grocery shopping, and I still got that grocery shopping glow, you can tell, right? But there's something about grocery shopping that makes me not want to make food. So I'm just averse to doing that. But we've got amazing dumplings from this Chinese restaurant nearby me. That's what's happening. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you again for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, super chat next time if you found this valuable. Leave a tip if you found this valuable. We all appreciate it. More content on the way, more live streams, of course. F&M is going to be every Friday, ideally from this point until eternity. That's right, we're going to be 65 doing this.
We're going to find the potion of immortality and drink it just so that we can do more gameplay live streams.
Yes, the 1,000-year elixir. We'll drink it. We'll drink it so we can live stream with you. But no, I always enjoy doing these. I hope you guys get a kick out of them too. Honestly, if you swing by for these after they're recorded, thank you for watching them. If you're watching them during the live, I appreciate it. I always have a fun time doing these, and I want to do more of them, obviously. Expect some MTG Ambassador content shortly. All of my stuff is under review, but also PubStomp MTG, we're going to be doing that very soon. You can expect to see us play the pre-cons from Wilds of Eldraine. So, let me pay you. Yeah, I've been asking you to this whole time. Jeff, there's no Patreon anymore. I took the Patreon down, but if you want, you can super chat, and that goes to the channel as well. The goal, in case you guys are wondering if you're still here, is to get a website running with content for you on various TCGs. I'm just not there yet, but I want to be. I really do. Like that's the goal. I would like to make this a full-time thing. So whatever we can do to get us there would be great. But yeah, there's more TCG content on the way. As soon as I have the time, these last few weeks have been really crazy. I just got back from a vacation. I want to start filming out a bunch of stuff for you guys. But any other final thoughts, Will?
If any of these cards interested any of you guys, we have a TCG player affiliate link that I believe is in the description. Go ahead, you can support the channel that way if you'd like.
There you go. That's right. You don't have to just send us money. The best way to support us, well, that's not true. We don't get all that money. TCG
Yeah.
player does. I would love, because that site, I would like to sell products wholesale. Like, I would like to sell the packs and the boxes of stuff, but I don't have a distributor, nor do I have a website for that. But I would love to sell TCG product. I would never want to sell singles. So many thoughts. At any rate, I love board and card games. I'm sure you do too. Happy with this recent set. Obviously, expect to see us cover more. Stay tuned for some of the pre-recorded content. Again, the MTG Ambassador stuff, it always arrives a little late because it has to go through a review process, but I hope you enjoy it still. Does Worldfire work in Rowan? Does Worldfire work in Rowan? Will? Yes.
If I remember what Worldfire, because Worldfire sets you to 1 life, I believe. Um, and that will let you do Rowan because Rowan just cares about life loss, not damage. So pay life effects work. So yes, but you'd have to get Rowan back out with haste to make that work. So in
Will
theory,
you
yes.
exile all permanents, exile all cards from all hands and graveyards? Each player's
Yeah,
life total becomes 1.
you can make it work. You're probably not going to make it work.
Sorry, I'm looking at it. Will my switchboard work? Yep, just like Worldfire. It's gonna be difficult. It's gotta be difficult. Worldfire exiles everything. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so it exiles hands, meaning that you don't have any gas at the end of it. So yes and no.
What is the goal?
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
No, you're
So,
fine. I like this though. I like where your head is at, Jeff.
no,
Worldfire Rowan.
hear me out. Instead of doing Worldfire, you can just do either Necropotence or Wheel of Misfortune and pay until you have 1 life.
Yeah, there you go. Almost the same thing. I like the mass destruction though. I really love the idea of just stalemating the game until the first person draws their dork and can start swinging at people for death.
Now, I want to pitch a very dumb idea for people that they might like. Use what is it? The Overload deal 1 damage to all enemy things. Because I think that does damage to face as well. You can use that, and you can Electro Dominance out Worldfire at instant speed. Then everyone gets set to 1 life and then takes 1 damage.
Jeff is asking if Rowan's a continuous effect. I believe it is, right?
So Rowan is a continuous effect from when you activate it. So if you pay 5 life, tap Rowan, then pay 5 more life, you only have a reduction of 5, not a reduction of 10.
right. But more importantly, I think for this Worldfire combo, I'm starting to see where Jeff is coming from. Tap all your resources, float all the mana you can, cast Worldfire after tapping Rowan. Recast Rowan afterwards. You're the only person with a board. Rowan attack, Rowan attack, Rowan attack.
Yeah.
That does work. This isn't crazy, Jeff. This isn't crazy, is what I'm saying. I like the idea of tap Rowan, reduce this as much as you can. Does it resolve? No one has anything. I play Rowan. Pass. That's kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah, it is interesting. In theory, yeah, you can do it. You need to get enough colored mana to replay Rowan. I guess it would only really be like 2 mana to replay Rowan, so
No,
it's not
impossible. You just have to float a red and a black.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
It's a strategy. It's a thing that can work.
oh, it's what all the best lead cEDH players are doing. The doctor was wrong all along. I'm not crazy. Yeah, no, you're not crazy. Teferi's Protection plus Worldfire would be better. Demigod Spartan. If only it was a Kellen deck we were talking about, okay? This is Rowan. No, I get what you're saying. Worldfire Rowan is exactly what I want to do. Thank you for that. You've made my weekend. I know what I'm doing now. Will, you said you wanted me to have another listed paper?
Yeah, if you want. What was it? There's a one card that was like very bad in our Rowan deck that felt like it did nothing.
Oh,
And I'm like, yeah, we can swap that out for Worldfire if you really want.
I mean, I guess Torment of Hailfire is just better. I feel like they're just better things. Like, this is just spitting. This is like insult, injury, and then spitting on them.
with a Torment of Hailfire, you need to get up to like a ton of reduction. With
Mhm.
Worldfire, you just need to get up to like 3 to 4.
5 or 5.
Yeah, like it's
Whoa.
whatever's comfortable enough that you can still have the 2 mana to replay Rowan.
You're good, Jeff. I literally, when we do these, we usually, because there's a delay in the beginning and the end, we sort of just stay here and chat. So if you've ever stayed for the whole, we usually don't hang around this long, but I'm liking the ideas. All right, again, I'll see you guys. I'm gonna wait for this delay to catch up. But yeah, this is a fun stream for sure. I like row world fire, the row world fire build. There you go.
The Rowan Fire.
The number for torment is usually 15.